on Discord, I went, oh my god, I need a week off. I have to think. Now, I didn't want to go to my friends and go, fuck you, leave me alone. I'm alone. Gah. No, I just don't want to come to them going, oh, I need to whine and bitch for a week. But I need this time to get my head straight because basically what I'm looking at is Talk of the Tavern and my writing is not producing enough to pay the bills. That's the bottom line. So I have a part-time job, but maybe it'd be smarter if I just broadcasted one night a week, Monday nights, and got one or two part-time, full-time jobs and worked 40 to 60 hours a week and pay the bills, which is the sensible grown-up thing to do, lose the Peter Pan syndrome, and be a grown-up and pay your fucking bills without trying to live the dream when it's just not working. So that's where we are, and Elizabeth is kind enough and energetic enough to, by the way, your background looks like the shot from Empire Strikes Back where Luke and Vader are on the crosswalk in Bespin.
It is. That's where they shot.
Mine?
Yeah, yours, Elizabeth, not a bookstore. And there's John in the background, by the way, if anybody can't see.
He's actually with. Everybody hears you.
Oh. So welcome to Jersey's Cards and Comics, where we're going to discuss Travis and his doo-doo.
No, that's a crappy subject.
Poop. So, okay, Elizabeth, you said, you opened with, when I hear a fellow creative person say something like, I need to grow up, please, go on.
All right. Okay. Oh, jeez, I'm on the spot. All right, here we go. Yeah, I was just having this conversation with Sanjay, who I was buying a terracotta pot from him yesterday. Okay, it's true, you need money to pay bills. But I think it's about, I encourage, and I fight this too, I'm a struggling artist. And New York is filled, especially even many of my friends are filled with people who, we do work jobs. We work jobs that are tough, or maybe we don't even like, or so we can do the art we love.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
And people spend their whole lives doing that. And I've met people that have had multiple plays on off-Broadway and just had amazing lives, never quite make that where your art is making your income. And I have met people that their art is their income. I think a lot of it, though, I think there's a danger, and I've been questioning this myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working on this, and that's why I'm so excited to have my studio open. I think as artists we can be very self-destructive, and this is what I heard when you in that statement when you said it's time to grow up. There was a time in our lives and as human beings in our civilization when artists were revered.
Yeah, it was called ancient Greece. Beyond that, the Renaissance, and then we're done.
Ooh, I'm getting there.
Uh-huh.
I'll get there. You want to go ancient Greece? It was a little later in the conversation, but I'll get there.
I'm just being part of the conversation. Keep going with what your thought is.
Okay. There's a time when artists would go hug the trees and commune with nature, and society depended on them for survival. Now that's a long time ago, but in Grecian times, they would ask when someone died, did they have passion? And passion was designated as a successful life, something beyond survival. And that's Sanjay talking, and I said, a life led without passion or expression of it, I think is just survival.
It's just what?
That's it. Survival.
Correct. Yeah, it's meaningless, it's pointless, it's
meaningless.
drudgery.
But once again, I think as an artist, it's important to stay focused even on ourselves to quiet the critic. And the only critic we allow is when regarding our work. And to regard your soul or what you were devised to do is destructive. Artists are different. Musicians are different. Athletes are different. Politicians, I mean, there's difference. And I don't want to get into
Are you calling politicians
science of it.
artists?
No, I'm saying
just checking.
people are definitely different for a reason. They're
Yeah.
programmed certain ways. There are some people that cannot lose. They will not lose at anything, and no matter what it is. I think artists have a unique ability to see things and to communicate things in a different way. I have the ability I can hold people spellbound. I can make them laugh. I can make them cry.
Now,
That
do you
is
do you have
special.
notes on what you're discussing right now?
No,
Okay.
this is what I teach.
Hold on one second. I'm going to put a little mark in here. So if we go 3 hours from this point, I can mark this as what we archive and use as today's show. By the way, real quick, to totally interrupt you and knock you off where you're at there.
Yes.
This weekend at work, there was a woman who was being confrontational, aggressive, angry. And after smiling and nodding and playing along, then the next time a little more serious, a little less play along. The third or fourth time I'm finally like, okay, I'm not an idiot. This has worked exactly how I planned it. You're confronting me for no reason. I'm paraphrasing. That was not the direct words. And by the fifth or sixth time she's doing this, I'm like, you know what? We're done. I'm going to be moved or you're going to be moved. We will not be working together today. And I walked over to the person in charge and went, I apologize, but I can't work with her. Put me somewhere else. Put her somewhere else. Whatever you need to do. And I can wait. Doesn't have to be right this second. I'm not storming out of the building. But I'm not going to work in that kind of environment. Not only did he move me and give me a job that I enjoyed a whole lot the rest of the day, he actually gave me a financial bonus. There's something called eSwag where I work, and basically it's here's points, and when you get enough, you can turn it in for a t-shirt or a shot glass or a $50 Amazon gift card. But because I did that, he gave me money. Just a whole...
Totally off the subject.
Say
Our
again,
names
Andrew?
were wrong. Totally off the subject. Our names were wrong.
Oh, are the names backwards? I'm sorry. Can you just be each other today? It's just so much easier for me.
No.
Hold on.
It's fine.
Let me take this shirt off. Show
Okay.
you my crack.
God damn. Andrea, is that better?
Now it's on her.
I think so. Was it over my face? Never.
I'm just being an ass now. Don't mind me. Damn,
No.
there's like 3 names
No.
where Elizabeth was. I had to move all through. By the way,
Those are my personalities.
Saoirse says, we can forgive a man for making a useful thing as long as he does not admire it. The only excuse for making a useless... No, she said useful. The only excuse for making a useless thing is that one admires it intensely. All art is quite useless. Oscar Wilde. I could argue either side of that, but I like Oscar Wilde, so I'm going to leave it be.
I don't know him.
Oh, great
I know
Irish
Oscar Wilde.
philosopher, writer, and...
No, I meant personally.
What's that?
I meant personally.
Oh, personally. Okay. You
I
know
know
who...
Oscar Wilde.
Okay.
Bad joke. Never mind.
Okay, Elizabeth, that's all I wanted to say is here's a point this weekend where I basically went, I'm tired of taking shit from you, and I got rewarded.
Now, I find it interesting how you won't take shit from someone else, but you'll take it from yourself.
Well, to clarify a little bit, I'm not saying, oh, I'm going to stop writing and doing the show. No, it's a matter of prioritizing. It's maybe give work hours 40 to 60 hours a week instead of the show 40 to 60 hours a week. Because there are certain base survival facts going on right now that need addressed and taken care of.
Okay. It's true, and that's great. And there's nothing wrong with working for money.
I get anxiety from having to go to work for somebody else.
I understand.
I don't understand. It confuses me that I would be like, oh my God, I'm terrified. Not terrified, but I'm having issues.
I don't sleep like the night before. I did this 2 long training days last week. I didn't sleep the night before
I have
because
troubles.
because I gotta go. It goes against our nature. I cannot remember where I left off, but
I'm sorry.
I am quite comfortable. My job in life is to inspire, and it's been that way since I was a child. It's still that way. I'm not very good at making money at it.
Well, if I figure it out, I will share it with you. I promise.
Yeah. But with my screenwriting, I belong to a group that is, and that helps coach, and that my career is now moving up. So with your show, I would say, okay, definitely think about things, but definitely also sometimes marketing is off. I'm very encouraged right now because of what I see happening with social media and movement. That's why I want to work with you and Andrea about maybe starting to get Pickleman going again. Because there's a swing, there's a real desire right now to go back to happy things and silly things. And children and youngsters are leaving social media platforms in droves. They're getting off it.
And so are we and people our age.
And so oftentimes as artists, we'll find ourselves ahead of a movement, and then sometimes we have to wait for people to come up. And that's what's happening. So
how do we take advantage of that? How do we capitalize on that being ahead of the curve?
Question.
No, John actually. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, get with producers, get with people that their focus is to make money at. No, really, I'm very, very serious. If you really want to make money at this, then you're going to have to get people, either get associated, get to know, study with them, or get them involved, people who know how to make money.
Well, I'll tell you a few facts that are just dreams. First and foremost, if you take any of my short story cycles, like Talent Agency that just came out, which is below in the Amazon thing if anybody wants to take a look. Any one of those short stories would make a good movie. Let alone if you took it and threw it on HBO or anybody that would do a series, you could do the whole book as an overarching series, each individual episode separate, but still a whole story arc. So a producer with vision should appreciate what I'm doing with those books, and the scape and the scope and how things are joined together. But of course I don't know how to reach out or contact these folks or approach them if I did know how to reach out and contact them.
The trick is,
yes,
from what I have been learning, it's not finding the producer with the vision, it's finding the way to communicate the vision to them. And first thing a producer is going to want is how to market this. They're going to want to know, when they read it, and you can read it, like let's say you give them a screenplay or you give them a concept line. This is all the stuff you and I can talk about. We don't have to talk about it on the air. And we can get it going.
We could do it on air also, by the way, because there's plenty of people that'll be interested in hearing what we're talking about. Oh, trade secrets. You don't want to give it away.
Well,
okay.
The things I'm telling you are not trade secrets. I just didn't want to bore people.
But I think what I have found, by the way, for the format of the show, video games is not the way to go. As much as I enjoy the distraction and the escape, the bottom line is whether I'm sitting here with you guys, 4 other people, 5 of us total, that's the best. We get the most people any day of the week. But even by myself, talking like this is the strongest format this particular stream has. Just so you know. So talking about it on air, there have been times I have been talking about writer stuff, and I'm like, people must be so bored. But I'm maintaining a reasonable amount of viewers. They're sticking around because they are interested. Now, whether they know anything about it or not, are genuinely interested, or just captivated by my amazing personality and man bosom, I don't know. But they're here, And that's the
A
bottom line.
Muslim. A Muslim.
They're pierced, baby. See my old school?
But that's the thing that I started to realize, and then I've learned through this group and through my own experience, is you got to know how to talk to people. You got to, excuse me. When writing a screenplay and then writing a screenplay for producers, very different. And I was in my night when I was sophomoric, when I began, I thought, oh, I just have to tell the most amazing story ever, and da 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 da. No, I have to do things like write for the budget. Right now, I'm an unknown. I'm a risk. So I'm writing low budget.
That's
so that
something else I want to discuss with you, by the way.
Sure.
I don't want to interrupt this. I'm going to make a note here.
Well, why change standard operating procedure?
Because you won't write down where you were. You'll forget where you were.
I won't. Well, stop interrupting.
Hold on. Andrea.
Hey, Andrea.
Can you do me a favor? Stay right there. Now, Elizabeth and I will be quiet. Can you do me a favor? Can you shout far from where you are and then run up to the camera and yell near?
No.
I can.
I can yell it, but then I have to climb over everything.
I'm just like, you're very far, and I just can imagine you running up the camera going, far, near, far.
Ready? Far! Hold on. Wait for it. Near.
Hold on while I clip that.
Oh, God.
And let me tell you, anyone out there that joke when they say those are far away, cows are far away, that's why they look small, is not funny anymore. I've seen that joke too many times.
It's from the
Are you talking about penis size?
No, never mind.
No,
I know what you're doing. But I saw it recently, like in a Simpsons, and they were trying.
Oh, is a joke just overdone and done and gone?
No, Andrea doing it is very cute, so I like her. Here's an ode of Sesame.
Yes.
Well, that's what I wanted. Is there a different way to do this?
I don't know.
Grover is my favorite.
Grover's pretty awesome.
Grover is awesome. And that whole skit with him and the waiter, and he wants orange juice, but they don't have any orange juice. Yeah, you remember that. I'll find it.
Okay. So, do you want to continue where you were, or do you want me to continue interrupting with where I was?
I was saying, okay, so the things I do now, I write scripts directly for my budget.
Uh-huh.
I write them as a high concept that hooks the producer. So I can say a film in one or two sentences, and he or she can see the entire film
Elevator pitch.
in their
Yes.
head. I have a marketable title. A transformational journey of these characters. I'm paying attention to things like every 5 pages, I'm going to have something happening or a line, a dialogue that they're going to throw in the trailer. So from the first page, when that producer reads, page 1, I look like a professional.
Right.
I understand the format, I understand how to write it, and then that's because I want to sell. Now, whether or not I sell that screenplay, whatever. I want to work as a writer making money in an industry, and this is how they do it.
Right.
Okay, so I'm understanding how the industry works. I think that is paramount, and that's why I said to you, you are very good at creating. Okay? Deal with it. You're very good. Now you need to associate with people very good at money.
Well, that's very true. Let me ask you, have you actually read any of my stuff?
No, I'm ordering it right now, though. I read your book, 27
Thoughts on Enjoying Life.
Yeah.
I can send you other ones. I know your budget. If you're tight on budget, I am happy to send it to you instead of making you pay for it. Now,
Shut the fuck up and let me buy it.
No, if you're good on budget, fucking give me money. Absolutely. I'm okay. When do you start your job, by the way? I've been meaning to ask that. When is that happening? Do you know yet?
I have a meeting this week, and then I don't know. I think toward the end of September. And I'm trying to see if they'll pay me for 2 jobs on one.
You're trying to what?
I'm working it out to where I get paid to not only mentor the other teaching artists, but also to manage the entire site.
Really?
So would you get paid for both jobs instead of just being paid for one and doing two jobs?
Yes.
Okay. I like that
Now,
idea.
I don't know if it's the same rate, because teaching rate, I think, tends to be a little higher than administration rate.
Mm-hmm.
But I went last week for training. I went to all the administration training, so I'm already trained to do the jobs.
Nice.
Went
And
to the wrong
Saoirse
training
says,
session.
Elizabeth is a strong, independent woman who don't need no books. Actually, she's buying her books. She just told me, shut up and take my $1.70 or whatever royalty I get.
My friends, and this is the thing I want to tell you, Travis. Okay, so hang on. So you're associated with me.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to start playing with the idea of marketing your books and screenplays, you know me.
Yeah.
Okay. I have about, I think it's 1,800 producers I'm associated with on LinkedIn. I can help you pitch. We can do things like that. And all you have to do is just approach them. Producers are out there, but if you have something to say when you approach it, boom. If you want to get more money, get Talk of the Tavern making more money, I would say keep doing what you were doing, because you were talking to people about how they do it. Keep that up. Keep researching that. It took me, I've been here in New York 2.5 years, and just now I feel like I'm starting to make headway.
Get traction.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, and this is off topic, so if you're like, nope.
Wait, Andrea's going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I yield the floor to Andrea.
Great cleavage.
So in order to, God, what were you saying? To do the books as screenplays, to pitch your books as screenplays, does he have to write it, or does he have to pitch it to someone to turn it into a screenplay?
Do I have to rewrite, or can I just hand them the book, the short story, the whatever?
You have to hand them a concept, and then you're going to want like a synopsis if they like the concept. And you can do it's like 10 pages. Right away, I'm going to tell you that if you were to, this is it, I haven't even read your book, but from what you've told me, if you're going, think of World War Z, you're going to pitch a script, you can't have all these different stories going on at once.
Okay.
You're not ready for that yet. You're not at that level. You're going to have to probably focus on one, maybe two.
But would he have to write it as a screenplay?
No, you can have someone else write it.
Okay. That's what I was...
It's stronger if it's kind of ready to go.
Right.
But no, people pitch all the time.
I'm going to pitch to you now. And actually, I'm asking your advice more than pitching.
All right.
What, Andrea?
Got a thought here. Ready Player One.
Right. Do you know the background of Ready Player One, Elizabeth?
Hang on. Let me get my pipe. Let me get my successful look on here. Go ahead.
Okay. Are you familiar with the background of Ready Player One?
It's a book, I guess. A book.
Yeah. Andrea, do you want to tell it, or do you want me to?
Go ahead. It's fine.
No, please. Andrea,
Wait,
stop.
come back.
Come back.
You're gorgeous.
I'm just going to do...
No. I want you to tell it if you want to. I just wasn't sure. If... Go.
Tell it. Sexy lady.
Short version, because I don't have time. Basically, I know what I was going to say is about Ready Player One. How did that happen? How did...
Okay.
I lost my thought when you were doing stuff. But basically, Ready Player One was fought over by producers and movie makers before it was even finished as a book. How did he get anybody to even consider it? That's what I...
He had such an amazing concept that the book companies started a bidding war against it, and basically the movie production companies always have an ear to the book companies, or links, or people, or whatever. So after he finally got a contract with a book publishing company, the movie producing companies jumped in and got into a bidding war for his concept also. Now, it did take 6+ years to turn it, to finish a book, publish a book, turn it into a movie, get the director, get the actors, etc. But now he's got part 2 coming out. And by the way, Elizabeth, the author for Ready Player One, has written one other short story, one other full-length book, and Ready Player One, and he's now working on Ready Player Two. That's all he's ever done. Ever.
Did they make money on that one?
A bazillion dollars.
Well, here's the thing.
Because I know the budget was $1 bazillion.
They might have broke even. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing with his book. Was it done through? Was he contracted with, I guess, publishing company, or was that independent? Do you know?
I don't know.
Because does that make a difference? Because if you go for a publisher, they know what's coming in. But if you're doing it on your own, how do you get the word out there?
Okay, by the way, Ready Player One tops 500 million worldwide, 200 million. Let me pull the article. 200 million in China. Domestic looks like 379.5
They
million.
made it back.
Yeah.
They did great. But the thing is, what about the people? Because, like J.K. Rowling's, was she with the publisher when she did Harry Potter and that was picked up, or did she do that self-published? That's what it.
No,
No,
J.K.
she went to a publisher.
She went to many publishers and
Yeah.
were rejected before she finally was picked up.
Yeah.
So basically, in order to get something like that, you need to go to the publishers and get them to.
Yeah, you can cold call them. You cold call that publishing house, and you can either call, because sometimes you want to make sure you can own the rights to a story. You can create a story and just pitch it, and it's like a minute call. You say, hi, when I cold call producers, say, hi, my name's Elizabeth. I got a story for you. And the producer says, okay, go. And then I say whatever my concept is, and then they'll say, I'm not really interested, pass. And I say, thank you very much. I'm available for writing assignments if you ever need me. Please don't hesitate to ask. Sometimes they'll say, okay, send me your info, or sometimes they say, okay, no, thank you. Over.
Well, maybe that's something you could
Okay.
try.
Ready Player One was published by Random House.
Okay. Well, maybe that's something you can do. You can pick your one storyline, come up with an elevator pitch, and call them and say, hey, here's.
I haven't seen Ready Player One. I don't know much about it. From the trailers, I can kind of guess storyline. Doesn't seem difficult. I think it works because it looks like it's a target audience.
It is.
Under 25-year-old males.
No.
Probably sub-sex.
Our age or older. Yeah.
Well, why would you say that?
It goes with both. Andrea, explain your thought first.
Nostalgia, like it's all this stuff I grew up with.
Okay, so you're hitting two markets. I only said under 25 just because
Yeah.
you're young people running around.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you're not
hitting
wrong
two
either.
markets. Okay, it's a very marketable title because I'll agree. Ready Player One, that was like the 80s. Ready to go. It's all video games. It's all this. So even though it is a huge budget, it's tasty. You have a already committed, easy sell, easy marketing. And once you have Warner Brothers on board, yeah.
And by the way,
Spielberg,
Elizabeth,
please. Yeah.
Ready Player One was published by Penguin Random House, which is one of the big five. So with the big five, I'm guessing the text message I received with you where it was fun to see my writer's ego was the query letter thing where I mentioned, and I'm like, which part of that? What is she talking? I had no clue. What
it was when I sent you Mia's scene, and then you read it, and then you said, "Oh, I gotta confess, when I was reading it,
Reading
I
on two
was
levels.
judging you on your writing skill."
Well, I have never read any of your stuff, so I expect once you get a book of mine, you will totally read on two levels. You'll read on just the reader's enjoyment level, and you're going to read on a very hypercritical level of, can this guy write at all?
I do everything that way, and it's hard to shut that off because
it is.
I can't. If I can draw better than something, I'm probably not going to waste time with. Sorry, it's just the truth.
No, I understand.
But, yeah. If I see, but I'm willing to forgive a lot if I see a story happen. So
Right.
that's always overtakes.
It's,
So you could have sock puppets, and I'll.
Which book did you order, by the way?
I'm going to order the Talon, the new one.
Okay. Now, here's what I want to talk about. I was considering a new series that I'm in love with the concept. It's called Silver and Smith. The Adventures of, or the Chronicles of. I have the actual series title planned. Now, the original concept was birthed from an Indiana Jones type concept. And by the way, Saoirse, if you have thoughts on this, let me know. So I was going to do it in a steampunk. You have Silver, who that's his whole name. He's a mercenary, a bodyguard, and a bounty hunter. You ever seen True Blood or Supergirl?
Yeah.
Which one?
Both. One or both.
Okay. In Supergirl, do you remember the black guy who plays Jimmy Olsen?
Yeah.
Imagine him, but much darker skin. That black, beautiful black colored skin that's almost purple or indigo. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
That's his look. That's
That
Silver.
true African color.
Right, but that deep, beautiful, rich.
Yeah, it has a cool skin.
Yeah, it's where you don't look at them and go, they're chocolate. You go, they're black. That's
I almost say
amazing.
blue.
Yeah. So and he dresses in black and he wears silver highlights on everything. That's one of the main characters. The other one is Hank Smith. Now Hank is short for Henrietta. She's a shorter, white chick who's good with ranged weapons, but she's also an archaeologist, and she's
Badass.
yeah. And so you have one kind of up close melee type guy, and then you have more of a ranged weapon. So in a combat situation, they balance. They each do different things. They're not doing the same thing. And personality-wise, Silver is really rich, kind of Tomb Raider-ish rich, whereas Smith is kind of the working her way up the ranks type thing. Now, my original concept is they search out ancient artifacts or cultures, and there's always somebody trying to get them. Very Indiana Jones competitive. Saoirse, I don't know Relic Hunter, so it's the big thing is I want her a little newer to the scene, a little more innocent, but still very confident in what she does. But they both need to be flawed. That's a bottom line. It works best, and they need to bump heads and disagree, but come together, pull it off in the end. I was going to put this in a steampunk environment, but the bottom line is steampunk is not drawing an audience the way it once did for all 2 years that it was spiking. So I'm looking at, because the concept I feel can fit into a 1930s era, very Indiana Jones type era, or I could actually take it and put it into the Talon Agency era, 20 to 30 years in the future. Genetic modification is happening around them. They are not. Cyberpunk, exactly. Well, cyberpunk was the original steampunk, Saoirse. Saoirse just said cyberpunk is the new steampunk. But cyberpunk birthed steampunk. Look at William Gibson, and then K.W. Jeter, who I've had on the show, actually coined the phrase steampunk in 1989 in an interview in, I forget what magazine, but it's a big one. So, what is your thought on what... I'm going to go research on Amazon and see what genres are hitting right now that doesn't have a lot feeding into it. And Saoirse, there is nothing wrong with being 27 and a babe in the arms. You've got an amazing pop culture library in your head for somebody who is 27. You're doing fine, and your opinion is very valuable, as much as Elizabeth's, because that 20-year difference is two different perspectives. I'm sorry, that 4-year difference, whatever.
1 year difference.
And that dystopia, you feel okay. Saoirse feels dystopia is oversaturated. The thing is, I'm not going to go with the teenage dystopia. I'm not going with the Hunger Games. I'm not going with what's that other one? There's like 2 other series out there that's oversaturated. But I want a functional dystopia. Not they're trying to overthrow the dystopia, but that is the world they're in. That's the backdrop. Okay, Elizabeth, besides going and researching what's hot without much out there for a hungry audience, any thoughts?
I think what's hot right now are good stories.
I always write a good story.
I think it would be a fun exercise for you to write a story with full intention of you shooting it. Okay?
Of what?
Of you shooting this movie.
Okay.
Okay, and the reason why I say this, even though I know you don't want to, I don't want to shoot a feature. Yeah. But, okay, I think it would be a great experiment to lower your budget as much as possible. And I think playing the game of, well, I'll do it in steampunk or I'll do it in dystopian society, you're already into a budget that's going to get you, you're out budgeting yourself before the story's even made. When you start playing with, producers do not like period pieces because they're expensive and they're a risk. You could give it a shot to sci-fi or Netflix, but you need to do it really low budget. That means you need to have limited location.
We could do that.
You can do that.
We have locations.
Yeah, exactly.
And this
I
is.
think you should focus on, you can look around, poke around, see, get a feeling what's looking right. Right now, the two biggest sellers are horror and family. They're the only two genres that still sell DVD.
Zombie versus horror.
I think, once again, I just got, somebody just watched Zombie Pickles from Space, an adult, and they wrote me, like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Really?
And they loved it. And
Okay.
they said, when you make your next one, please include fire-breathing rubber duckies or something, because that's the name of her golf team. So this is somebody completely out of my target audience who loved what I do.
Right.
So that's when things are starting to hit. Find what you, okay. Play with your concepts. It's easy to sit down and write a couple sentences like, what if they, like right now, let's try one. A painter discovers a masterpiece under the wall she's recovered. But it's a treasure, it's a treasure map to, gateway to hell, and which leads directly to the basement of her home. Well, there's a concept. Okay. Now I can sit around and dig around with that. Make it interesting, really give it a hook. But right now it's interesting because someone finding a map, that's something that you don't want, but it's in your house. Well, so that's interesting.
So the map is her home, not painting the wall at the comic shop finds a map to her house.
Finds a map to the gateway of hell, discovering that it's in the basement of her house.
By the way, I'm going to read a couple comments from Saoirse now. And by the way, they're totally silly, but I'm going to read them anyway, just to keep her included. She says, yes, but Handmaid's Tale has created resurgence in adult dystopia / speculative fiction. It has, but it's interesting that book was written, 60 years ago, 70 years ago? And that's a beauty part of it there. She says you should write Handmaid's Tale, Tail, which is Handmaid's Tale, but about mice. Then she says unicorns are popular, or are we on mermaids now? And then Bob jumps in. How about Naked Midget Painter? I think we could probably get Brad Williams to star in that one.
I think I could direct that one.
And by the way, let me ask you, when you're talking about me, so if I write a book, you're suggesting that I write the book from the point of view as a director.
Okay, I didn't know that. I was just saying it would be, no. Here's the question to think of. Do you want to sell your books, or do you want to just write your stories, and if they happen to sell them?
Well, Okay, so this is one of those obvious
And I don't-
questions.
I don't know. I really am.
Well, I want to write them to
I've
sell.
been
If I want to
told,
just
like, right
write
now-
a story with no sales, I'll run a Marvel game on Thursday nights. And that's an honest truth. I love it. I enjoy the hell out
I
of
do
it.
too.
But
Oh no, that's gotta be.
yeah, it's not necessarily ever going to make me money, and that's how my books are right now. They're a weeknight.
I don't know the secret selling books.
Right.
That is not my genre. That's not my specialty. I know in screenplays, and I know that right now producers favor a safe investment. They like books that have made money that they can translate into. I know that. Since you've already written the story, I don't see it being very difficult, like taking something from the talent agency and converting it into a screenplay. And there you go. Making money at books, I have no idea.
By the way, with talent agency, I did put a certain keyword in that entered me into a contest on Amazon.
There you go.
Get
a rep. That's what she's like.
Well, also, and this is, guys, get ready for pitiful here. Here we go. I have sold more copies of Talent Agency in the past week than I have sold of pretty much any other book except Steampunk for Simpletons in the past 6 months.
Okay, I'd like to interject here.
Go ahead.
I don't think that's pitiful at all. I don't like the fact that you put yourself down before. That is the fact that you've written books is an extraordinarily successful thing, and that's something you should be proud of because you've done more than most people will ever do.
Let me interrupt real quick for comments
no,
here.
No, I'm not going to let you interrupt.
No, for
And number
comments.
Two,
From the viewers. Not with my opinion.
all right, you want to take away my momentum? Go right ahead.
Oh my God. What are you, a Jewish
No.
mother? Look at the guilt. Catholic
I'm
mother.
trying to give you a compliment, and you're avoiding it.
Absolutely, just like you do. You're welcome.
Not my show.
It's your show when you're on it. As much yours as mine.
For the
Okay,
audience.
so Sirsha says virtual reality is popular, always the risk of being a Ready Player One clone, even though Tad Williams did the other Land series years before that, but we ignore that. That's because the only thing Tad Williams wrote worth anything was Tail Chaser's Song, which was a great book about cats, and the rest was eh. She also says, just like we ignore Hunger Games being a whiter version of Battle Royale, because I've never heard of Battle Royale. Bob says, and this is the comment I was getting to, you guys are creative, all I do is write technical bulletins. Bob, I wanted to comment on this particular because without you, anything we write doesn't matter. You purchased my book, you encouraged my book, you followed the book, you talk about the book. And War of the Flowers by Tad Williams was boring and long-winded. If I want that, I'll read Robert Jordan or George R.R. Martin. But perhaps I read it 20, 30 years ago and I need to give it a second try. Okay, Elizabeth, go on with what you were saying. Do you not write these things down when I interrupt you so you know where you were?
Just stop interrupting her.
There's a good idea.
You will.
Do you not have a notepad beside you at all times?
I do, but okay. Then I'd have to stop masturbating. Okay, so
Thanks, Bob.
the fact that you're getting things accomplished is important. The fact that you've sold stuff is amazing. That is huge accomplishments, and you should acknowledge yourself and stop berating yourself. Okay, you're moving forward. Enough of that shit. I'm gonna call you on it. Every time I hear you say something snide against yourself.
But the
I'm
thing
totally
is, there's the
embarrassed.
next.
I'm talking. Okay.
I'm sorry, go on.
That's
Finish
right.
complimenting me. Hold on while I bask in this shit.
It's very important. I'm really believing in that about the discipline of mind thought, and it's very self-destructive. Like any advancement you make, acknowledge it, accept it, and move on. Do not put yourself down. It is it's cancerous, horrible.
But this
I
is
think it fights
the move
against
on.
your movement. It fights against your progression. And
But-
I'm gonna call you on it, and you can call me on it.
But like
Both
any
ways.
movement, you want to continue an upward growth, and I'm not seeing an upward growth. So something has to change. The
Why are you
definition.
not? You just said so yourself. Your talent book is selling more than anything you've ever written.
Right,
That's
because
an
it's
advancement.
new and different from every other thing I've done.
Maybe that's one.
Are you done?
Yeah, maybe your
Hold on.
channel's helping advertise it. Maybe the people you've contacted are helping you advertise it.
Andrea wants to talk. Yes, Andrea, go on.
I'm always waiting for Andrea.
Y'all never stop. Look, when you put yourself down when people compliment you, that puts you in the mindset to mess up and to fail.
That's right.
But I'm not putting myself down. I'm saying I can do more.
Stop it, accept the compliment, and then do more.
Yeah.
I did. She didn't acknowledge that I accepted it.
We don't acknowledge shit, motherfucker.
I am hungry. Anybody else hungry?
Yeah, flee and pee. Flee and pee. No, it's actually, it's, I graduated with this master screenwriting certificate, and they taught me how to talk to producers and everything I got lured back into joining another group in their last couple rounds, months, till they graduate, of the program I already went through, because specifically there's retraining techniques to get your mindset proactively thinking instead of falling back into that negative. And I look forward to daily events. Like every day I sit here, even as we're talking, I'm on LinkedIn contacting producers, just reaching out, getting contacts every day. Every day, I'm sending out letters, query letters, and concepts to producers. I don't dread it. I look forward to it. And when they say no, I say, okay, move on. I'm ready to be hired. Move on. Being positive. Athletes do this. The positive thinking, the visualization. They actually have psychiatrists they hire to keep them on these loops of positivity. So important. We got to do it. And we have to fight against not doing it. Andrea. Is she not talking now?
I don't know.
Okay, it's important. It's so important. Even the Dalai Lama talks about the purifying of our consciousness without adding that negativity. Love that guy.
All night long.
I love him, and I can't believe on Twitter he'll say something amazing and be like, well,
I don't read the comments. I don't read the replies. I'm just like, what's he got? By the way,
I do, because I cannot believe the arrogance of people. Like, oh my God. Go ahead.
Dude, commenting, you said the Dalai Lama?
yeah, they're criticizing and attacking the Dalai Lama.
I was going to say the Dalai Lama is on Twitter?
Yeah.
Well, it could be him. It could be a coworker or whatever.
It's somebody who writes shit down he says during the day. Yeah.
Yeah. I read all over the place, especially people adding positive comments. I think it's important. And I once again, I believe in the power of positivity, and I'm going to nail you on it, Travis. And not because I'm being a dick or a cunt or whatever word you want to use, because the power of it is important. And I want everyone I know to be successful in whatever they do. So I'm going to give it to both of you. I'm going to give it to you guys.
There's something I always say is,
what capable of great things, I wouldn't work with you.
You know, it's one of those things that I say is, what's the next best thing to me being hugely successful is somebody I like being hugely successful.
Buying dinner and drink.
By the way, Saoirse says, so at what point is Andrea going to paint her boobs and press them against the wall?
I can't do that. There's children in here.
Why aren't they in
school?
You
want to press your boobs against children?
Party source.
Oh.
I can't get a pilot gun.
You can't what?
I'm not talking to you.
Fine, be that way.
Oh.
See if I want to talk to you anyway.
Don't tell her what to do.
Dalai Lama walks into a pizza shop and says, "Make me one with everything." He hands the store owner $20, and when he asks for change, the owner says change comes from within.
That's funny. That's funny right there.
Classic.
That's funny right there.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand on that. And that's what I tell, the fact that you're getting things done. On the worst day, you're getting things done.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
I'm getting things done.
You are.
That's why I wake up. The first thing I do is make my bed first thing. Because at the end of the day, if everything goes wrong, at least my bed is made.
I don't make my bed.
I do. You do it, just Andrew. I make your bed.
No,
To the
no.
cats. The little kitties coming out.
I kind of set the pillows back into place where I want them when I get into bed and pull the sheet over that area. So it's like quasi-made, but not really made. And some days not even that. Depends on the day.
I used to not, and now I do, and I like having that thing done at the end of it.
See, sometimes if I get out of bed first, I can't make it because, like, then I'm pulling covers off of her because she has pulled them all to her side.
I look forward to that dilemma.
So I just leave it.
The other thing I want to comment on is Sorcia's comment about art being useless or without art is without use. Oscar Wilde quote. I'll get it wrong. You know, I think the Chinese have that idea that if there's a use for it, it's not art. I think art is absolutely necessary.
I feel it's very useful myself. It's inspiring, it's relaxing, it's triggering, it's so many things. Whether it's a book, a screenplay, a sculpture, a painting, a poem, whatever it is, I feel it has a use, and that is, in some cases, to realize it's useless, but you create it anyway. There's many, many uses for it. But I also understand what Oscar was saying in that quote.
I do. But I think it's a necessity. I think a society without art is not, there's no civility. It's just this.
Let me read.
The least it can be. It is the least it can be. And I think, man, I can do this.
Keep going, and then I want to read Saoirse's comment.
I think art purifies our universal consciousness. I think it does, and I think it educates and it expresses on a level that is so overwhelming. We haven't even acknowledged it yet, and I think it's absolutely mandatory for society to exist, a civilized society.
Now, Saoirse said, art is useless, but without it, the world would be a bland, gray place.
Agreed.
So I think you guys are kind of saying
I agree.
The same thing with different dynamics.
Agreed.
And yes, I agree with that also. And that's where I said I can argue either side of Oscar's thing, because I understand what he's saying, but I also understand he's also very tongue-in-cheek with a lot of things he says. So.
I don't want to live in a world with no art.
Well,
and,
I never
you know,
have.
And you know, you get to socialism, and then you kind of dingle around communism. It's government mandated art.
So
And
is
then
that
that's
art?
not a world. Yeah. I'm sorry, I lived in Berlin for a while when I was a lot younger, and we would travel to East Berlin on daily visits. And I don't want any part of that society at all. And anybody that, oh, the government's safe and it can take over everything, nope. That means anybody that works for the government is fat, and the rest of us are starving.
Artists inspire revolution, socially or otherwise. Look at John. It says Elizabeth could be a philosopher. That's what Bob says. That's why we call Monday nights Philosopher's Pub, because that's what we all are. We're armchair philosophers.
I find when I make art, I find peace. And I share it with more people. I wish more people were creative or express their creativity, and so I am.
So I can get a piece art.
Say again, John?
That's how I can get a piece art. I can draw.
Well, I don't know art, but maybe you can get a piece from them.
Ah.
Oh my.
Oh my.
And then Saoirse says, philosophy is art. It is the art of the mind and thought, painting ideas with words and concepts. Indeed. Until you get the same regurgitated fucking philosophy that's running in circles as opposed to actually creating thinking, it's creating a loop that's repetitive.
That's objective morality,
Is that what that is?
usually.
Does that include lunch? Because I'll be right back. I'm going to take a quick break so Elizabeth and John can discuss philosophy.
You
And
can turn the camera around.
Sirsha says, I think, therefore, I am a chair. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh.
Now that we're alone.
I heard that.
No, we got into discussion. We're writing a book about a secret agent. That's it starts off with one of the politicians being tortured because he's against torturing and stuff, and he forces him actually to torture somebody, and it happens to be him. So I was talking to one of the younger people, and they were talking about, well, you know, torture is never right. And I asked them, well, if we were thinking about pedophilia inside our head and fantasizing about it, but we never acted upon it, is that morally wrong? And he goes, of course it is. I said, but according to who? You know, you never acted upon it. And he goes, well, society as a whole doesn't think that. I said, but society as a whole used to think that slavery was okay. So by that thought process, then slavery would have continued. It's not actually the society as a whole, it's the charismatic smaller groups that actually talk people and get change done.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, oh, that makes more sense. I said, but that's how history is. It's not typically the greater mass of people. It's the smaller groups that have good thoughts or good ideas to change people. So
That's true. It's true. We forget that. Our revolution was led by a third of the country.
Yeah.
The
So,
majority of the people were happy and content with just being.
but that's why we're a republic, not a democracy,
That's right.
because we can't allow those things. And, you know, that goes back to, were the founding fathers philosophers? Well, sure they were.
Yeah.
Also smart, too. So,
And they were well read on the philosophers before them.
well, of course.
So, brilliant. Like, I thought the cat was going to take the mic, and Travis is like, oh. So it's always wrong to torture, huh?
No, because in the
No, that's what they said. That's what they said.
Oh yeah. And I said, well, you know, it's until somebody forces you into a situation where that situation is more important for you to solve than your morals on that situation. And it always boils down to that. It's, you know, what's more important to you, that portion of your morals or some other moral dilemma that you're in at the time. And we always have to make choices.
Of course.
It's just this story forces people to make choices. The character's called Truth Seeker, and he forces people to see the truth. But he becomes one of our good guy, bad guys. He's kind of one of those double. Fun to work with.
Dun, dun, dun.
But that's where philosophy is helping me as an editor and a part-time writer with our publishing group. Because to be quite honest, I used to only write technical documents in the Navy. It was first out of my comfort zone, and then I started picking.
That's it. I think that's the key to success in life, is moving out of your comfort zone.
Of course.
I think
And one guy really upset me. He was a writer that wrote, you know, had a couple books and stuff that he'd written, but he basically said, well, I can write a superhero story that's going to be a hit in 15 minutes. I said, what? I said, well, go ahead.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and every thing he sent me was, well, Tone, that's just a concept. That's just an idea. It's not a story. And that's already been done a lot. And he goes, well, how about this? And I said, and it got to be where, well, do you want me to write the story, or are you going to write it? Because that's what it started to boil down to. And we just eventually had to just tell him we can't waste any more time on it. But with the kids that are in here, I mean,
Well, to people like that, I tell people like that, and I kind of wait because you don't want to piss people off too much. It's usually when they leave the room, I'll say to the person with me, I'll say, create or shut the fuck up.
well, the other thing
Yeah.
too is like when we have younger people, especially me being an artist before in the industry, I would see other professionals tell kids, well, that's okay. Not even just kids, adults too. Oh yeah, that's okay, because they're just trying to push them in the line to get the next guy up. And how is that helping somebody if they think that their stuff's okay? They never get any better. They wonder why their artwork's not selling in the comic book industry. It's because, well, you never progress. Somebody told you, you think that that's okay, and it's not really okay. It might hurt somebody's feelings, but I think it's worse to be dishonest with them and tell them, yeah, well, that's pretty good, when it's really good. Now,
Sure. I agree.
with us doing all the stuff we do free art classes, and I said, come in, we'll teach you how to do the proper proportions. I mean, we use a lot of Bernd Hogarth's work and stuff because he was kind of a master at, dynamic posing and all that type of stuff. So I really love his work, and it's good to teach the people the foundation to get them started on. Of course, with cartooning, I mean, you can get away with that. You want to look kind of, out of the way. Actually, that's where I have the most problem is drawing like a Disney style cartoon.
Oh yeah.
My brain goes from superhero to no. Motion through elongation and contraction. And
Yeah, that's so hard to do. You have to get used to looking at drawings that are wrong,
Right. Well,
and realizing you're only going to see it for 1/30th.
Right. You can mimic it. I can mimic it, but it never looks quite. It looks mimicked. It looks phony.
Are you off model? Is that the problem?
Well, no, because typically when you're doing a goofy or a character like that, I mean, what kind of model are you going to have for it? Because you can't take the model and contract it and wish it out. I mean, I can in my brain somewhat and try to draw it, but there's people that tend to have a better knack at that than I. I mean, I'll learn it, but but that's another thing. Like I'm saying, that's out of my comfort zone. I might get back to doing it because we've got a group of young ladies that are working on a manga, and I've done some of that style. The big eye is a small mouse, but it's just something that would be new that I want to. The stuff they're doing is pretty funny, and I want to do it. It's about a bunch of elemental princesses whose boyfriends cheated on them, and they go around the world trying to kill them. So it's got some comedy, some combat, and some fun.
No,
I'm just
your chair.
I taught that style one time, and I didn't want to, and then the students bugged me, so I finally did. And then they asked me, how do I do it? I said, okay. I went home that night. I came back and I figured it out. I told them to draw the body of a 12-year-old boy and stick really big boobs on it. That's the manga style. With really big eyes. Really? And then I did it. And then they're like,
Well, one of the girls said they needed a gender bender thing, and I said, I don't get it, but we'll work on it. So
you know what I don't get? And this might offend people, I don't care. Okay, there's this huge thing about, when they take anime and they make a live action movie out of it, and all the characters need to be Asian. But anime, all their eyes are this big, right? I've never met Asians with these huge eyes. They all look Western. They all look blonde or some black.
But
They
that was
don't-
on purpose. After World War II, those were modeled after Americans, and not Asian people. So that's how that started, and they continue to roll.
So why do the live action people have to be Asian?
Well, I don't know. We're trying. They're interesting enough. They're trying, people that can speak English and Japanese that do the voiceover stuff. So you can.
Yeah.
This because acting, you have to be an actor to do that.
I agree. Why can't you just be good at what you do?
Yeah.
Full circle. And then there's Travis with
I know
food.
an otter was that.
It's an otter. Which one's the otter?
He just laid down. He's in
The Greg.
the grayish.
All right. Cool. Oh, he's there. Okay.
What's he doing? Don't give us the finger.
I can teach them how to squash the trash. I was always amazed at people's ability to draw animation. They can animate to where the line doesn't, it just looks like it's naturally on the body. It's just unbelievable control that I think some people are born with. You know, it's unbelievable. I understand.
4:30.
Is it 4:30?
It is 4:30.
Why you eat dinner?
I guess.
$2.
He's not sharing stuff.
He's not. He's not even telling us what he's eating. He's being like,
Are you on mute?
Probably eat a rotisserie chicken
Hey,
for a snack.
The ham and cheese sandwich with mayonnaise and the Irish mustard.
oh,
yeah, the Irish was just good.
I'm out of it.
I'm scraping the bottom of the jar.
So my parents have decided they're not leaving for the hurricane.
Were they supposed to?
I don't know.
They'll be alright.
Just one more thing to worry about.
They'll be fine. People overreact.
She didn't
That's what I'm hoping.
Oh my god, at work they were selling so many generators and people were getting angry when we didn't have one. This happens every year.
these are part
Hundreds and hundreds of gas cans. People, come on.
Well, yeah, I know. But it is supposed to be, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
It's
But,
always
you know, if anything goes wrong, you know, you won't be able to drive there. You won't be. I said, yeah, they're staying because of the kitties, I think. Everything for the kitties.
that's why I would say
Well, yeah, standard. That's what we all agreed on years ago, but it's harder when, you know, I'm not there to help with things. Things aren't good right now. Something seriously, they had to fix a hole in the wall or the ceiling. It would be bad. But anyway, on to happy. What did I watch?
they're gonna be fine. Oh, Bob, he said mayonnaise. Man.
Mayonnaise, these fries are good.
Oh yeah, he says that because he's 0.4% black.
You are a good painter. It doesn't look like you have any green on your nail.
Oh, just little specks from.
The roller.
I know what I'm doing.
I'd have it all over. All over me.
Well, that's for a different reason.
After hours. You know.
Yes.
GM.
Anyway, Travis, you know, Don and Kappa, they have somewhat full-time jobs and are doing not only their art, but they're also running a film festival.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, film festival at first, but that's
And apparently last year's sales and everything went up 20%.
Good.
I think it was because of Talking Tavern.
yeah.
Yeah, you give us credit. We'll go with that. Now, it's amazing. What, Andrea?
I was gonna say, you know, we need to get the thing, figure stuff out so we can do a movie show.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. When I'm at work and hand somebody my card, I have had more than one person going, "Oh, I've heard of this."
Oh yeah.
I'm like, "That's great." Where? When have you heard of it? Give me something more than "I've heard of this," but they say they've heard of it, and I don't actually question
Have you
them.
ever Googled Talk of the Tavern?
Maybe, I don't know.
I have.
But
Why
it's always
question something that's working?
Well,
say
it's,
great.
I'm curious
Yeah.
which part is working because I want to focus on what's working.
Well, here's the thing. We are, Taco Tavern is known because when you do Google, we're up there a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Pictures and stuff and YouTubes and videos and yeah,
Zazzles.
it's up there a lot. Just saying.
I'll be right back. I gotta grab this in the kitchen.
I go in waves of activity on the internet, and my activity has dropped off just because August was about other things. So, yeah, it does get a lot. And I hook you guys up with other things.
So,
I have to do a refill. I have to do a refill. I shall return.
We'll miss you.
Return.
Squirrel loves the little petting glove, the little brushy glove.
oh yeah, I need to get another one. Are you using the glove?
I used it this morning.
Need one for each hand and just
And other appendages. And just for all our viewers, so you know what the hell we're talking about. You've seen those little pet grooming gloves. It's like a glove with little rubber nubbies sticking up all over the palm, and you can pet your...
and it pulls all the fur off of them so it doesn't go on the furniture and the floor.
I got up so early this morning that the cows weren't even awake yet. I went by and they're all laying down in the field.
Are they dead?
No, I got to explain to my son that cow tipping doesn't actually exist unless if you sneak up on a cow that's awake. Because,
They're not easy to tip over.
well, you can only tip them over when they're awake because they sleep laying down. And there was some, like, with their feet, they were loafing, their feet were tucked underneath them. And there was others like totally on their side, like, like this. I'll give you an example. Zazzle, you're a cow.
Tom?
Good. Lay down like that. Good job. There you go. Great cow, Zazzle. Oh, don't fall off the table, Zazzle.
We'll go with a flip.
Well, Andrea left.
I didn't lay it on
that.
So what'd you do with all the stuff in the back room? Did you just load it into the minivan?
No. It's still there. It's just moved.
We'll have 17 new magic cards and 87 new boxes.
I'll give you some.
Don't give
That
it.
was from that.
It's one thing for promos, but not.
box.
I'll make the decks, but then I won't play them because nobody plays with me.
I play with you.
Oh, don't vomit, fish. Oh my God! Can you get on the floor? Don't vomit from up there. Come here, fish. Oh, good boy. Oh, look at it go. Oh, it's like priming a well right now. Blah. Otter's going for a hot meal. Hold on while I get this.
Oh. Speaking of, there's a book about it. Ew.
Hold on, gotta go throw my napkin away. Good Otter, way to help. Nice assist there, buddy.
Here, this. Is it? No. Hold this out.
I brought an extra paper towel back with me in case that goes down again. Or comes up, as the case might be. Oh, what the hell was that noise?
You breaking stuff here?
No. It's chilly in my place.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
better temperatures here, but it's still a little too warm and too moist to be nice yet.
Oh, it feels like Europe right now.
Nice.
It's a little chilly and it's not cold enough for the heater. I was thinking about comments earlier about your books and stories, and no one really knows what's happening in the future right now in terms of broadcast, right?
Right.
I've just been blown away recently, discovered like people I know bless you, they buy Dish, right? The satellite internet.
Mm-hmm.
So they watch all their TV through Dish. And you can get an app, and it's Dish Anywhere. And then you can watch cable TV anywhere on your phone, on your tablet. And as long as you pay your bill, you can do this. So people are consuming content at a huge rate right now. Huge. We've got movies and internet distribution, Netflix, YouTube are becoming just not only production companies, distribution companies. Huge. So the market for content, people are devouring content. I think what sells are good stories.
I think in the long run,
Yeah.
yes.
And
I think initially
hang on, one more thing, and then you can. It's not that your story has to be original, because I think that's a fool's error.
correct.
But your story, your vision of it, or the vision that you're doing, is original. The Sixth Sense, is a ghost story, really, right?
Mhm.
But the point of view, where the kids, and they even say in the middle of the story, I see dead people, and they don't know they're dead.
Right.
What an interesting point of view to take on a ghost. So that is what I'll share with you, is when you say, well, what should I do? Make it unique in that way. Make it a unique vision that people haven't done yet. The Hunger Games had been done before, but they got a view, and Harry Potter is really nothing original.
No.
It's D&D or whatever.
Well, it's King Arthur.
Yeah, it's King Arthur. But it was a point of view, and the timing was right, and
Right.
good deal with the devil, and
Right. Right.
Do things all the time, and it hits pretty well. Like, look at Alice in Wonderland.
Exactly.
That's been redone in different ways, from Tim Burton to, I saw one where the White Rabbit was a taxi driver and the Cheshire Cat was a
Oh,
dancer.
cool.
Was that the
Yeah, that-
porn?
Huh?
Was that the porn?
No, that wasn't in porn, but
Oh,
there
okay.
are porns too.
There are.
Well, the Matrix is Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
It even had they even say follow the White Rabbit.
Yeah.
Was even alluded to. So
And then the White Rabbit was a tattoo. But
By the way-
that zombie movie that Dan showed, and it was the musical. Of course, I'm going to watch that. Of course, 'cause what a fun point of view, singing about the zombie.
The
there's strippers. There's all kinds of ways to do things.
hmm?
So like Silver and Smith is kind of like Indiana Jones-esque, Tomb Raider, but it's different spin on it, and it kind of brings it together. So
Why not?
It'll also be a Croker-Norge type of chemistry,
mhm.
where it's two opposing points of view and two different drives and purposes which clash sometimes, but they still come together to accomplish a mutual goal. And by the way, the last story in Talent Agency has a lot of Alice in Wonderland references.
My two favorite stories. Have you read World War Z?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, Andrea, have you read it?
I read part of it.
Okay. So it was. I've heard that before. It was basically like the idea of the book was they did interviews with people who survived the zombie apocalypse or whatever, and these are their stories, and they're being interviewed, so they tell these stories. My two favorites were one about I think she was a pilot, and she gets separated or crashes, and she survives. And she has very limited radio contact, but it was just a voice, and she's not sure if it was ever there or not. Saved her life. They're relatively low budget, a little bit of a crowd, but And another one was about a blind person in Japan and how he's survived. Fabulous. They're very simple stories, very simple, and those could easily be translated into a screenplay, but then Brad Pitt.
Right, right.
I still enjoy it though. I was surprised.
Well, there's
you know?
many movies based after books that I am glad they made it, but they should have named it besides the book title, because
Marketable.
it
Oh my
wasn't the
gosh,
book.
okay. I'm going to stop you right now. Artie has a suggestion. I'm assuming this is Warren Silver and Smith, Womb Raider. Continue.
This is Silver and Smith Porn Chronicles.
Did you say Womb Raider or
Womb.
Tomb Raider?
Womb.
With a W.
Okay.
I just thought it was
All right, the Womb of Denial, Woman Up for a Song. Womb Raider, Womb Raider. That's all. Awful entertaining.
Oh, I'm looking at the
Just
description.
the only reason why I suggested that was I suggested trying your hand at something low budget, because that could easily be, if you were to pitch that to a producer, they might have more interest.
Right.
That's the only reason. The fun thing about books is you can get all over the place because it's your imagination and it's unlimited budget. Once you get into screenwriting, budget is a very huge question right off the bat.
Right.
That's why a lot of horror movies take place in the wilderness, in the forest, at a cabin, in an RV in the middle of nowhere. You don't have to pay for location. Although I love writing, I wrote Boo the Boogie about the boogeyman quitting his job. It was like $100 million budget movie. Sure fun to write that. Silversmith. That could be a Netflix show.
Definitely could. Especially since if we can take, I would love to see it done in the Sherlock Holmes, the BBC Sherlock Holmes with Benedict Cumberbatch, that style, in that each episode is kind of a standalone movie type thing, but they're each sequential still.
If you made it modern, if you made it like today, it would lower the budget. But not for the book, but just, I'm thinking script. I don't do books.
Right. Well, even if I make it in the talent agency, it's not that hard to use any given modern setting for talent agency when filming. Because talent agency, the world is not that much different than what we have now.
The other thing I want to say in regards to how we start off this whole conversation is I don't think, okay, let me tell you, I have struggled so hard against challenges I never thought I'd coming up against. I have worked my ass off that it is not childish to be an artist. That any child, after going through what I've gone through, would have given up years ago.
Mm.
Who is it? It's a magnet on my fridge. It says, creativity takes courage. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there, to risk, to fail. It does. To be an artist, to take on the responsibility of sticking something out to the very end, good or not, and then sharing it. I think it's wrong for people. I ran into this first in animation. Cartoons. Okay, it's not cartoons, it's animation. Cartoons are in the paper. Okay. And they would say something about The Simpsons, and I'd say, it takes a lot of very talented adults to make those cartoons.
Yeah.
They're not done by children. Children couldn't stick it out.
And they're also not made for children.
What was that?
And they're also not made for children.
No.
The Flintstones weren't. They changed it to children, and it sucked once they changed it for children. It's when they made it for adults that it had staying power.
I think an artist, someone who runs around like teenagers, I'm saying do craft. Yes, because you're a teenager and you're wearing hormones. That's why you do craft. No. I think those who just, I'm an artist and la la la, and nothing is ever produced, they are children. Well, if you are actively producing and creating and working hard and pushing forward, you are being an adult. I don't think it's, to say an adult is only someone making money and, 401k and all that. That is a type of adult. But I've met children who make a lot of money and are ignorant and obnoxious and just downright not good people. So is that an adult? I don't know.
Well, John?
Johnson?
I think he's talking to somebody else. A few comments from Saoirse. Is he conducting over there? What is he doing? I think he's conducting an orchestra. I'm going with that.
It's his story. He knew what he wants.
That's all right. Don't tell him what to do. So a few comments from Saoirse. You should write a book about alternate universe where missing people and things go. A kingdom ruled by Amelia Earhart. I just imagine her decked out in many, many socks. She also says you should check out Relic House. It's about a university professor who hunts relics/artifacts with the help of her bumbling assistant and airhead secretary, which I did bring that up, and apparently Tia Carrere starred, and it was a Canadian television series. And the last comment by her is, Warehouse 13 is also a cool example of relic hunting.
Mm-hmm.
The relics they hunt have magical properties relating to those who own them. So, Harriet Tubman's thimble disguises a person wearing it. Marilyn Monroe's hairbrush turns you into a blonde, etc. And with Silver and Smith, I am torn on the level. Now, I have a few plot lines planned out, a few story ideas, basically 6 or 7 books, as it would be. One is the race for the Jinn's light, or Jazir's lamp. So basically, it's a Jinn who wears business suits like a mobster. And he's busy, when people get him, if they're a decent person, he gives them 3 wishes and the lamp goes on. If they're a dick, if they're an evil person, he tricks up their wishes to destroy them. He twists them, and he's saving up the spare wishes as energy that he can use when he's freed. So if he can kill him with there's 2 wishes left, he has that much power that's unused. There's also a Truad storyline. Then there's an interesting one. 2 authors creating false deaths of one another's pen name to boost sales.
That's fun.
And then there's a pair of rings.
What's the hook?
Well, there's a pair of magical rings or cursed rings that one pulls emotion into a person and drains it out of another. So one, red is rage and blue is creative calm. So as the red draws the rage from the other ring, the other person gets this creative calm. The Dead Collectors, which is our Bring Your Dead emergency response team to collect corpses for organs and zombies and pay big money. Basically a zombie who's still conscious of his life. These are all just concepts that I have to tweak. One concept I like, it's a young child, probably just pubescent. And all I have for this story, the whole book, is it started in his room, a small corner of reality that wasn't his own. Basically, he tapped into something and he's bringing things from another place. One other concept is somebody whose superpower is not being remembered. They're 100% forgettable. So they could pretty much do anything and nobody recalls who did it. But man, what a lonely life. And this is what... Oh, I like that title there. Saoirse said gin and tonic, as in D-G-I-N-N, and tonic. Good gin punk name. Hey.
What would the tonic be? The healing?
I would think so. The basic... You look very cute in your jersey shirt.
I need to go soon.
Go
Okay.
as in come home.
Come from here to go.
Did you get the whole wall done? Did you get the ceiling cut in?
No, I'm too short. He's gonna have some of the tall people that come in do that, but I got every.
There you go. Did 1 gallon cover it okay?
Yeah, there's still some in there.
Well, good, because I got to cut it in.
I know what to do. I'm a professional.
A professional what?
Sure.
And I got a shirt.
You did.
Ooh,
So,
fancy. What's
so
the back?
before you know, I'm gonna run away.
Is there anything on the back of the shirt? Oh,
Her hair.
Visible. So
looks great.
okay.
Well, if you want, you could join us on Discord while you're driving.
But then I can't listen to my music.
No, you cannot. But also, I don't know if you have a place.
I don't have a place to set it or to cook it. What?
Saoirse then says Ginger Rogers, but it's DJINNGER Rogers. We do love our puns.
Okay.
Go on, Andrew. Drive safe. We'll see you in an hour.
Bye,
Please
Andrew.
don't say bye. He's like,
I'll
Joe.
only talk I use, or if they want.
do you
What?
want him to talk to you?
What?
Do you want John to talk to you?
If he wants to, he's welcome to join us.
He said if he wants to. And he gets a chance.
You can leave it on or turn it off. Just let me know so I can adjust the screen accordingly.
Can you turn it off?
We're not busy right now, so yeah, I can talk.
Alright.
We'll keep John in then.
Yell across the room. Near, far.
Yeah. Last time we did the Breakfast Club with John, I said he can show up on Talk of the Tavern. He plays well with others.
Okay.
You've not been out to the pond on Pine Creek Road.
But
We're gonna
now,
have to do that video in your yard, Bar.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
Oh. And then there were two.
Everything.
Millington, right?
You get a fun- you get fun-
Millington?
His name. Hey, John.
Yes.
I'm creating a title for you to put underneath your picture. Is it Conquest Comics or Conquest Publishing?
Publishing.
Again, it's John Millington, correct?
That is correct.
There we go. Okay. Make sure I get that right.
We started off as comics and then things started happening. I will let it go to wherever it.
Let it go. Let it go.
Well, actually, we're thinking about when we incorporate, go under Conquest Entertainment.
It does sound reasonable considering what you're looking at branching into.
Yeah. Because I got an ice cream wall. Makes sense.
You got an ice cream what? I want ice cream.
Oh, ice cream wall.
Oh. I was thinking ice cream. That would sound good.
Hmm.
There we go. There we go. Okay, I think
What are you doing, Elizabeth?
she dancing.
I'm hearing things, right? I'm not sure something's moving around in my room, and then I got music, and it's just madness.
You've lost his interest.
Wall was moving.
Chaos, always chaos. I
Oh.
give things life. What can I do?
There's a question for you there, Elizabeth.
Aw.
Saoirse, who, again to clarify, is Artichoke, says, so when is Elizabeth getting a genetically enhanced pickle that can speak and fly in after hours?
Mm.
I have a 3D printer. Maybe I can start working on part.
Hmm.
Have you seen the movie I have not seen Perfect.
And hello, Aiden. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it, buddy.
I'm gonna look it up right now, then.
How'd your day go, Aiden?
Well, you know.
Oh, by the way, Saoirse Draken Gaming YT. That's my son, who you may have seen before. I don't remember if you have.
Oh, dun, dun, dun. I'll check it out.
Does it look good, Elizabeth?
It says a chef and a scientist fall in love as an epidemic begins to rob people of their sensory perception.
Mm-hmm.
I may not watch it soon because right now the only place I can find it is on Prime Video, and it's watch now for $12.99.
Nope, that's not happening.
No. But I'll look around. Sometimes you can find movies in the library.
That's true. That's true. It's
Thank you for the recommendation.
If I do find it, what I can do is give you a link to the Dropbox. And you
Oh,
can
cool.
Dropbox.
You know, a show I watched, and unfortunately it was only one season. They made Vinyl by Scorsese. It is just phenomenal direction and light and color and just storytelling. Phenomenal. And I guess it was very expensive to do, so got it. But it is one season is on Netflix, and it's worth a watch. It's wow. It makes you wish every show was that good, that well directed.
What's it called?
Watch movies.
Vinyl, like records, vinyl. It takes place it's in the 70s, about the music industry.
Okay. What'd you say, John?
It's intense.
Oh no, I was telling Corey was asked if he could
Gotcha.
sign out. Yeah. He's done for the day.
So is this your slow hour now, or does it start to get busy now?
It'll pick up usually around 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I don't know with all the hurricane preparation.
That's true. It's
You think they're gonna? I just tell my parents, I said, go to the library now and buy and check out as many DVDs as you can because the satellite will go out.
I will not suffer from the ability to read or to watch.
That's
No,
true.
they won't either, but it's something. I don't want to have it.
Okay,
Typically,
so
that's one of the advantages because I mean the house will lose power a lot. The store we're on the same grid as the hospital, so I just jump in the car and come into the store, and usually the power is pretty good here.
actually Norfolk is kind of the epicenter, isn't it?
Yeah,
Norfolk to DC and a little bit down towards Raleigh. That's where they're predicting now, huh?
Yep. Problem is there's so much rain. The ground is already so waterlogged. There's a lot of
is.
concern about the trees.
yeah, and that's. I mean, we had 2 down this morning, so
Really?
but we've got tons of them out there, so I don't care.
Not on your house or anything.
Well, all the ones by the house are relatively small. The one that was bigger, luckily fell the other way. It's an X tree. Pretty fortunate with that.
Great.
What I'm trying to stop from growing is those damn bushes that trees that have those big long horns.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I don't like that.
I keep trying to kill them, and they just keep like.
Well, outside. Sorry. It's hard to hear you guys because some guy's revving his motorcycle right outside my window.
I hear them.
No.
So there are 3 tropical storms / hurricanes in the Atlantic right now, huh? What happens if they bump into each other? Do they bounce off or do they combine?
Yeah.
Wonder Twin Powers activated.
Depends what the dice roll is.
Yeah.
I guess so.
And you rolled a 1. And That's usually me, and everyone counts on this shot.
But that's so much fun. It's
It is. It is. When everything goes wrong is when the adventure really gets good.
I liked how everybody pulled together. Poor Daniel seemed to get kind of bummed out that everything didn't just work out instantly and come together, but
I don't think it's a scenario where we're just going to brute force it.
well, you might, but you're not going to solo brute force it, that's for sure. There's many options that might work, but it's
I
largely
Since we're
I
there,
already talked to
Faze,
Andre about what I was going to do anyway.
uh-huh.
Faze, you work with electricity. Is that true?
No, exactly.
Energy.
But I was going to get on the phone and call Bonsai Corporation and tell them I was whatever news agency I wanted to do an interview with whoever's controlling the giant monstrosity.
So you can control electricity, or you can't?
Energy.
Just energy.
Isn't electricity energy?
It is, but think more radiation.
Or light-based radiation.
So you can control the charge of anything?
I can disrupt it. So yeah, that's how I disrupted the turret.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's huge, and it would take forever to go from place to place. I just can't randomly pick and choose where, what to do.
No, I had an idea, and then it was that. I'm like, okay, well, on to the next.
Go to the center and teleport its heart out of it.
Oh no, it's an Avengers movie. It's got to be this and then this and then
Well,
this.
the other thing I was going to do is get a giant robot, female robot, and try to get it to, distract it away.
Like Bugs Bunny used to do.
So, but I don't know if they have any in New Vegas that are that big. You look at the Space Needle, it looks like a giant saucer and paint lips on it, and then have it kind of
Put a wig on it.
to the side.
And real quick, for anybody who's not watching the live show, what they're talking about is our Thursday night game on Andre LA Chat's Twitch channel. It's a superhero-based tabletop role-playing game. So check that out if you have a chance to. For everybody listening on iTunes and iHeartRadio, etc.
Yes, yes. Come see the bad bird.
Lots of comments from Saoirse.
Oh yeah.
Talking about the Vampire Diaries and the Secret Circle novels. But they were finished by ghostwriters and it knocked it off course and it was very different and she hated it. Secret Circle, one of the favorite trilogies, and the ghostwritten books are appalling and redact so much from the original trilogy to make them more in line with the TV show. So basically the franchise got televised and they took it away from her. Yeah, that is a danger. There you go. She suggests paint me a silver and have her Pepe Le Pew in front of him.
There you go. So how fast is actually Skidmark? I know it says whatever.
Give me a second. I'll pull it up.
Compared to another character, how fast do you think he moves?
See, I'm not pleased with Marvel's version of land speed. Because, and give me a second, let me pull up there. Monster 75. Now, what's his name is Amazing 50. And I said he could run across water at that speed, which it's not technically correct. The speed he would have to hit would be much faster than what he can hit.
You can always have fast food, put down some greasy, buttery stuff, and Skidmark superheat it by friction.
Set
Well,
the
it's
town on fire.
I did encourage Elizabeth to take on the coach role.
Not the...
Take on the what?
The coach role and kind of take charge. Okay.
Okay.
Now, in theory, fast food moves at 120 miles per hour. And Skidmark moves at 135. But like I said, I'm not pleased at their speeds because to break the sound barrier, you have to be at class 5,000. And I'm like, yeah.
How
So...
the hell does like Quicksilver or anything.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
like,
I'm
Vision has no powers greater than 40, I think.
yeah.
Way more powerful than Quicksilver.
And that's why I'm kind of like leaving that open to interpretation for story reasons.
Right.
And that's something else I want you guys to realize is, the story is the most important thing. So we'll bend rules. There's times I will automatically make you succeed just to move the story on because that dice roll is not that important. The action is more important than the dice roll.
Cool. That's going to be our coach. Sweet.
That's going to be what?
She's going to be the coach.
Sure.
Well, it's
Okay,
her.
yeah, then.
It's in her character's build.
135 miles an hour, that's pretty quick.
Oh, it
Think
is.
about it. If you were standing there and someone ran past you at 135 miles an hour, jump, it'd be pretty quick.
It is, and that's why I have fast food combine his fluid producing ability with his speed, and that's how he's actually running across his own buttery goodness when he runs
I
on water.
forgot to put this on the back burner this weekend while I was thinking. I'm writing it out now to think about this. See, I'm writing, Travis. I know.
Very good. Saoirse, when you say just kick the robot in his nuts and bolts, the character I'm playing on Star Wars The Old Republic with my son is a type of character that has a special move that basically kicks people in the junk. And I always find it hilarious when he kicks a robot in his junk and it actually reacts like you kicked a guy in the balls. And I'm like, yeah, you kicked him in his nuts and bolts.
Well, robots do have feelings.
Only if they're made by men.
Everyone has a weak point.
It does, and apparently it's between the legs.
Or, and a lot of times, are your center balance a good weak point. Sorry, I'm taking my vitamins.
No, it's okay.
Taking my drugs, man, drugging it up, live on the air.
What are you taking?
Vitamin C, D3, B12, folic acid, acid.
Got the sun a lot?
What, John?
I heard Elizabeth say she's taking D3, but aren't you in the sun a lot?
Look at me.
Well, that doesn't mean anything.
I am, but not often, and
Well, no, D3's good.
yeah.
That's why most people need it, because we're stuck in comic book shops most
Yeah.
of
Yeah, writer, and a little echinacea, and calcium.
Isn't that a creature from Australia that hangs out with the koalas? The echinacea?
That's it, USB ports.
And I'm keeping healthy, man. You gotta keep healthy. Any sign of weakness, man, you'll get infected in this city. Actually, it's all LSD.
I had a great idea for an app. Does anybody write apps? You want $1 million idea?
I know people that do, but
Well, here it goes.
I got one.
STD, gotta catch 'em all. And basically you hook it up with the camera. So you basically your camera captures a live view of anybody walking by, randomly assigns them an STD, and your character, instead of catching them, has to get laid by them. Now, once that person is off the camera, it doesn't
I
matter.
like my freedom.
What's that?
I do like my freedom. 'Cause, jail time is not fun.
Somebody could write this. It'd be a bestseller. Everybody be like, let's get STDs.
I am still surprised to this day how many Pokemon goers come into the shopping.
Are you a, whatchamacallit there? A spot?
The post office is right there, so it always populates post
Gotcha.
and libraries, etc.
Because I know
You're
in
always
Mi-
surprised in what? You're mumbling. Who comes into the
Pokemon Go
show?
is still going.
Pokemon Go.
yeah, and
Oh,
I know.
yeah. I see people occasionally playing that. And I'm like, oh, look at that.
Well, I know
I thought it
initially.
would have died off already.
One of my students 2 years ago got the hack or whatever, and they could go anywhere in the world from sitting there. And they showed me, and I said, okay, go. And I said the Himalayas, and he punched in, found the zip code, and Pokemon Go took him there.
Nice.
And I said, that's brilliant. And he said, well, it's not as much fun. Because there was someone that actually traveled the world and collected all the Pokemon. Someone with a lot of money.
Yep.
And I was talking about it in class. And he said, oh, come here, Miss Elizabeth, I'll show you something. And that's the hack he had. And I told him all these other places, and he would go. And then a couple of them, he found Pokemon.
I think it's always cool because on their phone, if there's a Pokemon in the store, you can actually take a picture of it with,
Right.
Have you played the Jurassic Park one?
No, but I heard it's not as good.
Is there a Walking Dead one or one with zombies? My God, that's
There
seems like
should
a gold
be.
mine.
See, and that's the kind of concept with the STD thing that I was talking about, except it's based on, for adults. And it doesn't have to be a real person, but
Speaking of dinosaurs, I need to get up with them about next year's Comic Con.
Yeah.
Bring their dinosaurs so the kids,
Harry Potter one is coming out soon, according to Saoirse.
The con?
No, app. Catch 'em all type thing. Is it going to be the Fabulous Beasts or the Fantastic Beasts? Fabulous Beasts. They've got great hair and makeup.
I don't know, I think a thing for that would be finding components to a spell or to a potion and making it, doing different things like that. Make
would
it more
make
of a
sense.
treasure hunt kind of thing.
Oh.
We'll see. I will let all our Harry Potter
Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
It's,
Sorry.
I don't know. She should have tried to continue with the Fantastic Beasts thing. I'll give the second movie a chance, but the first one, I wanted to like the first one. I wanted to.
Me too. Me too. I thought, well, maybe this is the one she'll catch me on. Boring.
What, John?
She stopped writing Harry Potter stuff.
Well, no, she, there you go. See, Bob would like that. Saoirse says, fantastic breasts and where to find them. No, the latest movie was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So Newt Scamander, who wrote some of the textbooks that Harry uses in the movies and the books, they've gone back to him and his adventures and how he wrote these books. And it has Johnny Depp in it and a few other big names, and it just didn't... You just don't care. It's... They try to make the characters likable, and they failed.
Boring. But they tell an interesting story.
Yeah, but like the World of Warcraft movie, the story isn't enough to carry the story. You got to have characters to carry the story.
Well, that's it. I consider character part of this. Because if you think about it, what the story does is it challenges every character on either their weakness, fear, whatever, something they don't want to face.
Right.
And then they're being thrust to do it.
But that's why I like a character-driven story as opposed to a character that is driven by the story.
There was a story in Fantastical Beasts.
We were talking about earlier about Doctor Who. One of the kids was in here and he goes, well, who's your doctor? And I said, well, I don't think I watched it enough to make a decent decision on that. But how well was the writing team that was working on with that particular actor at the time for his popularity? Because everybody seems to have their favorite and stuff, but the writing team that worked with them on that particular thing, I would imagine that to be all decent actors. There must be a line to be the next Doctor Who. So
yeah. Well, I have found, for most parts, a lot of Doctor Who fans are strictly timeline-based. Which Doctor did they get into it with?
Well, and that's similar to D&D. I think everybody's favorite version of D&D is the version that you learned it under.
For the most part.
The amazement of, oh man, this is so cool. And then you kind of continue to play along. And
But I do like 5th edition better than what I started with.
Oh, and me too. I've liked every edition that's been, you know, from the 70s on. Every edition seems to be better, but majority of players tend to like the system that they learned and
Correct.
them up for that reason.
It's true. You
It's
can
the
say
same thing
that.
with Harry Potter. It's like who they,
Yeah.
that's who they first were introduced to. That's the actor that they like.
Well, I think another problem is the original concept was all based around Harry Potter, but also I don't think the movies were nearly as good as the books because Harry was fucking annoying through 5 out of 7 movies.
All of them were.
Well, the first one
Oh, boring.
is okay,
Oh,
and the
boy.
last one, or the last 2, I should say, because there's 8 movies. You know, he finally quits whining and becomes proactive as opposed to the victim. In the first one, he's just being introduced to the world, and that's a little bit of wonder, and that's very nice. But
Well, I think I told you that about Star Wars. I mean, I was in college when the first movie came out, and I thought that Luke was a whiny, push him
Yep.
out the airlock kind of character, and Han Solo was so much more interesting. But that was to me. And later, and it's not Mark Hamill's fault. I mean, that was the role you
No.
give it to act upon and stuff. And then later on, you kind of warm here. At first, it was like, I don't get it. So.
it's because it was something very familiar in such a new way.
Yeah.
You know, it is the King Arthur mythos retold. But it was with the space opera backdrop, and that was delightful.
Well, and I think with success, I mean, he had to backpedal obviously a little bit and fill in the gaps and decide, you know, where he was going to go with it.
What are we talking about? I'm sorry. I got
Star
distracted.
Wars.
Back to Star Wars.
Oh, Star Wars. Okay.
So, I mean, I give him all the credit. I mean, he made all the right merchandising decisions.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know if he was honest about saying, well, I had this grand vision. And I said, why'd you start where you started?
No, he had a concept,
Concept.
you know, but yeah, I agree with you. It wasn't a grand vision. It was, oh, I've got this one story. Oh, I can do more.
Oh, it's successful. Let's go.
You know. And then, of course, the merchandising accident that launched him into being a millionaire, which was something at that point in time, not so much now, but
Well, I caught bits and pieces of you and Elizabeth talking about, like, with your writing and stuff, and, you know, how do I make something more sellable? Sometimes I think we get too caught up in that. If you do something that's good, let it be discovered. I mean, you never know, you know, how that's going to work out. It's the same thing with what we're doing right now here is like, I don't know where it's going to go, but things have been growing so well that we'll see what happens.
Write what you love,
Yeah, and I
no
think,
matter what.
with our company, we just got, you know, one of the other Mark Wade's bragging on this one comic book company, and, you know, because they wanted to change, you know, how their writers or people that work for them did social media type interactions and stuff. And it's like, well, with us, if we do everything right, or if we do everything, they can't find fault with what we're doing.
right.
You know, I don't care how hard you try. I mean, you can be a troll and say something about us, but what are you going to say? Oh, they're giving free art classes, or oh, they have free art support, or oh, they're teaching people how to do this. You can't, you know, and that's the overall. I think if we have a solid foundation where that's always the goal of the company, you know, don't have things that people can find fault with. I mean, people will try to, but hopefully that it's not. Social media is a horrible thing for publishers anyway. I mean, it's hard to be on the right side of it because people are always going to find, you know, well, you said, well. So I'm going to tell anybody that's here, I mean, it's your social media, do with you as you wish. I guess they got, you know, one guy was using a ban bot or whatever for people that would potentially find them, and I think that's not smart for people to find you. Like with Mark Wade, he was basically dictating who his fans were going to be. Well, if you follow this person on social media, I automatically just bot thing automatically blocks you from
Huh.
tweet. I think that's silly. Because then you're saying who can be your fans versus your fans should be, they like your work and then they're your fan.
Right.
I think the picking's the wrong direction, but that's just me.
I say create what interests you, and it doesn't mean like, right now I'm working in the horror genre just because the success rate and the model of low budget horror is one of the ones that does really well. But it's still films that I would like to go see.
Right.
That's
Right.
and I'd love to make an action adventure movie, $1 million, $200 million budget. I'm not there yet. So until then, I'm always going to write something that I would love.
When I mentioned to certain people writing with a beat sheet where you hit certain plot points at certain points in the story, they're like, well, now you're just selling out and you're not writing what you want to write. I'm like, no, I am. I'm just pacing it for what people expect and what they want this at this time. And there's not anything wrong with that. It's just like going for the genre with Silver and Smith that is hot. It can fit any genre, and I'm still going to write the story I want. It's just a matter of what backdrop I put on it.
Sell out. I want to be bought out.
Pretty much.
Well, and if you want to make money, then there is going to be a certain level of expectation, and that you should understand and
Right.
maybe work within. Story beats, because if you want people who sell whatever you're creating, they have to recognize the platform within you're working.
Right, the
And
value
they
of
also
it.
won't take a risk on someone that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, is trying to creatively work outside standard operating procedure.
Wait till you're Stephen King or George R. R. Martin and then do whatever the
And
fuck
then
you
reinvent
want.
the rule. Yeah.
Well, I guess this is somewhere similar to music, probably. Then I mean, there's only two people that write most of the popular music that's out there. Only
That's what I hear.
out of 90% of the top hits that are out there. So, I guess if you're writing towards familiarity, I guess, because that's why they write those songs, is because people are familiar with them. But it's the same song written kind of just different by the same two guys. And they write specifically because people are familiar with that particular type of music. And modern music started to contract into that thing.
It'll blow out again. It'll go in its cycle like it always has.
It's been on a long.
Yeah, when people stop buying it, change.
Yeah. But I think movies might be the same too. Familiarity might make it more acceptable. I don't know.
It is tough right now.
I guess is the word. Commercial.
But you know what genre is getting huge right now?
What?
Christian. Out of this market, huge profits, just blowing Hollywood out of the water.
Specifically in our stories, I try not to villainize somebody's religion anyway. I mean, I don't have that. I mean, Hollywood kind of usually has that vibe to me. I'm going out and interviewing priests and bishops and stuff like that so they can give me their take on a particular story. In one of our books, a robot becomes sentient. Well, how does the church interact with that person? How do they feel that they can be saved? Can they be part of the church? And so I'm getting their input on that so I can write a better story. And so, I mean, we can make a better comic based on what their input are. And it's interesting because I've gotten 5 or 6 different takes on that from bishops and stuff, priests in the area.
So what is your general response?
Well, they feel that they would be welcome to the church, but they can't go to heaven. They look at it more like an angel that doesn't. They say you can't be part of the Trinity. You're not created from the bonding of a man and a woman, and that type. So
Interesting.
you wouldn't have a soul. And it's interesting that, I mean, none of them would say that they would exclude the person from wanting to be part of the church. It's just that they would tell them that there's no path for you to go to heaven for salvation. And that's their reason.
It's an interesting moral dilemma.
It is.
It's not much different than when people ask, does my dog go to heaven? Well, no.
No. And that's not to say that your dog's bad or good, because that's the whole thing too, is it's not a matter of good or evil. going to heaven. I mean, you could be the most evilest person for most of your life, and you can still biblically go to heaven. And that would be an interesting story too about redemption.
Everybody knows God. That's all I'm saying.
Keep
And I'm
talking.
Catholic.
I've got to go.
Everybody knows God's plan. Priests used to be able to be married until it wasn't Augustine. It was one pope suddenly changed that, and all of a sudden the priest had crap.
Well, that's been the success of Christianity. It's adapted to the times.
I mean, like, you know what? If God wants you in heaven, you're going to be in heaven, whether you're man, child, dog, snake. That's it. God wants it. Somebody be. But I know what you're saying, and I think it's cool that you do research for your stories.
Oh,
It's so important. It adds such a level of interest. That's really cool.
well, you have a better story. I mean, I get out back to the comfort zone. You're not in your comfort zone. You get a different opinion. But I have to do that when I don't want to have a bias when a new writer's writing things. You said that you like the horror genre. Unfortunately for me, it's not a genre that I'm really deep into.
I'm not either.
It's because.
But I took it as a risk to let's see if I can make some money doing this.
How can I write a story that's going to scare some or bring that tension? It's because my own life has broken me away from. I mean, I've seen people die. I've seen things that would typically be in those things. So it's hard for me to pick up a book and say, I like the horror more. That's the aliens, like the second Aliens. It's more the jump scare kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not really horror. To me, it's just science fiction with some action and drama.
Yeah, I agree. And I really enjoy the challenge of making a scene scary. And it's not, I mean, jump scares are fun, of course, but then it's all you're trying to do is, I don't know, reach for your glass so you can see the monster. But then something's happening just to get to them is the thing. Taking the everyday actions we do and making them scary, that's fun.
Well, and that's what I'm going to try with the psychological thing with the CIA agent. I want to try to bring the horror aspect into that.
Right.
But it's getting tough is because I'm
Well, that's what's fun. Then you're out of your comfort zone. Good job. For some people, speaking in public would be terrible. So then you would have to not have to, but for your one character, that's what they have to continually do. The mic, everyone's watching.
Well, and with the one character, eventually they figure out he's a psychotic that was tortured, and they actually kind of caused him to be that. He would be left behind, and but it's the psychotic side of him that actually controls everything, and not the waking side that controls everything. So we've got that aspect. We're going to use them between the bad guys and the good guys as kind of like a double agent. How well that works.
Very cool.
But I get to go and work with we talked earlier about the philosophical things about, how to tie that in.
That sounds like you're having it.
It should be good.
I'm congratulating a producer for getting this thing out. Everything went wrong with her project, everything, and including someone holding her footage ransom. And then she finally got it out. It's even on Amazon, right?
Sweet.
So yeah.
Somebody held her footage hostage.
Yeah. Really unprofessional people out there, man.
Why don't you just go pinch them?
I guess she did. I guess she's a mom, so I guess she took care of it.
How do you hold somebody's footage hostage? Where they?
You take it and demand more pay.
Huh.
You can take all the footage and just leave the editing bay.
Wow.
People are dirty rotten. Some are worse than others.
Well, and see, those are the type of people I think that should be publicly outed.
I agree. But you still have a project you need to finish. You did.
Right.
Or you find a small room inside where they're at, you put them in it for a second, and you shut the door. And
Yeah.
you know why that's not cool.
I'm for public executions. I'm like spikes, heads on the walls, show people what is bad and never.
I'm not against that idea.
Oh, we can maybe.
Uh-oh. We got a thought of brewing.
That'd be a decent comment. Okay. Yeah, I gotta get a piece of.
It's a good visual deterrent to crime.
Oh. It is a good deterrent. Shame. That's one of my favorite Game of Thrones. Shame.
I'll bet you guys in on part of it.
You farted? What?
Yeah, that too.
Oh, okay. Now what are you eating?
Potato. Butter and cheese and bacon. Salt and pepper.
Butter.
Now with butter.
That's pickles into it. It'll be
Pickle?
Yeah,
Hmm.
put
Pickle. Butter. Mm. I'm running low on food. I don't want to go to the grocery.
Hmm.
Running low on food. Caffeine keeps the hunger pains away.
I don't have any caffeine in the house right now. Well, I have coffee. Wonder where we lost Saoirse. Did you doze off, Saoirse? Or are you reading?
I gotta change the channel here. Les Mis came on. I gotta be a little more exciting.
Which version?
I don't know. One of the Broadway.
Hmm.
I don't consider the film a version.
reading Wall.
Hey, that was a rough one. Whew.
I enjoyed it. It was passionate.
It sure wanted to be. I enjoyed the blonde. Her voice was otherworldly.
The little girl
Yeah.
or the mother?
The daughter of Pauline
Right.
Fontaine.
Fontaine, yeah.
Yeah, she had like that 20s style, the soprano vibrato. Just like you don't hear anymore. Oh, ooh, somebody's here to play. Russell Crowe should be ashamed of that performance. Horrible.
Well,
I can't believe he's in a band. God. Oh.
I kind of agree with you, but I felt it fit for Javert because he is very stilted and crisp and technical. And that's how Russell Crowe, that's how he performed. Very stilted and stunned. What's the matter, John?
Oh no, I thought somebody was coming in.
Yes, but I would counter with, okay, yes, but it was suffering. It was not enjoyable to listen to. I believe Cumberbatch plays a great stilted, stuffy Sherlock Holmes, and it's easier to watch. You know, even the sound of his voice is interesting, charismatic. Also, it was awful. God, I can't. Poor director. Can we try it again? A little more passion.
Instead, he
God.
did.
Oh.
Technically, it's
I
right,
thought
but
Anne
nobody
Hathaway
cares.
did pretty well, you know, for not being a singer. I thought she did pretty well. I was pleased.
There
I
you
felt
go.
hungry afterwards.
Saoirse says Eponine oversang her death, which is a pet peeve of mine. Little Fall of Rain should be sang beautifully and sadly, not breathily and asthmatic.
Is that the one who died? Is that what
Yeah.
Anne?
Yeah.
I
No,
like
not
that
Anne
one.
Hathaway. Anne Hathaway, I think most people agree, did beautifully. But the dark-haired one that died during the battle scene. That
No, I
threw
like the
herself-
blonde, the one in the garden that gets to fall in love, and what's her name? She, I loved. Eponine, yeah, she rang.
No, Eponine was the like street rat.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember her, so there you go. But I remember the blonde. Her voice was. That's the one I was talking.
Yeah, that's oh, Cosette. There you go. Thank you.
What's that? Thank you. Golly. All these names.
Yeah, she was one of the few Sopranos that I didn't have issue with. I feel a lot of people try to put Sopranos on the top of the pile, and in the right moment, Sopranos are wonderful, but to make them what should be the hard-hitting vocals, they're too thin and reedy to be a lot of oomph behind them. But to be willowy and light, it's great. And yes, it was played by Amanda Seyfried, and she's also in Mamma Mia. She's also in A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Mamma Mia. When I saw the movie poster for the second one, I love movie posters. Love movie posters. Here we go again. Mamma Mia. That's the name of it. Here we go again. What was the Emoji Movie? And it had the poo symbol on it. And I just thought that was hysterical.
By the way, I watched it.
Foreshadowing.
Not that bad. And Patrick
Really?
Stewart played the poo. It was amusing. Kind of like the angry.
How many drinks would it take to get through it?
I don't know. For you or for me?
For you.
2 or 3.
Wow.
It's mind you, I have a high tolerance, so 2 or 3 in a 2-hour period. It's a fair amount. It's a relaxing amount. But also the Angry Birds movie, much better than I ever expected. And perhaps those 2 movies I went in with such low expectations that anything was good. But yes, and by the way, Saoirse, I agree. She says, I mean, Broadway always favors a soprano for the ingenue role. It
has to do with frequency, and that's a frequency, a range within where we're inclined to, I don't know, we quiet. That's why they used in World War II, they used the female voice to broadcast across the aircraft, because it was all male voices, but they'd quiet when they heard a high-pitched female voice.
See, and you have to be quiet, and that's my problem with Sopranos. When they put this wonderful symphony behind it, or these other voices, it gets lost. If they are by themselves, it very much stands out. But once you put it into a chorus, you lose the soprano. She just gets washed over.
That's just poor balance. It's like my complaint with most rock concerts, all I hear are drums.
Yeah, I have that problem
And
with
I can't hear the guitar, I can't hear the vocals, I can't hear,
A lot of live performances are that way, where I'm like, oh, well, I listened to this on CD, and you've got these wonderful vocals, and now you're just totally drowned out.
I love going, there's all this live music in New York, and then you go and they hook up all these musics to speakers, and you don't need to. Musicians can play, and they're amazing at fine-tuning either their instrument or their whole body to work as muscles and control. They can get you to hear them, and they're very skilled at it. Plug it into microphones, and all you hear is
Right.
And you can't talk, you can't, Jesus.
It's like movie posters.
Love movie posters.
I
love how they do them right, and I love how they do them wrong. Right now, they're stuck in the loop, and they have been for like 15 years of just being the actors' faces on
Right.
the post.
we just bought
Yeah.
probably 200 or 300 different movie posters. So
It's kind of like a trailer
Yes.
done right, where, in the 80s, the trailer told you the whole damn movie. You knew the beginning, the middle, and the end. As opposed to a good teasing, draw you in to see what happens.
Well, I'm looking up like.
But while you're looking that up, Sean says a soprano always evokes frailty and innocence, the pinnacle of femininity. Alto voices are more powerful and evoke a more independent and strong character. I think that's a fair generalization. There's always exceptions, of course, but...
mean, there's generalities, and that's just how it is, and that's usually what you work on.
Mm-hmm. But you can hit the exception to the rule once in a while and have something beautiful, or you could try to hit it and just miss miserably.
Swing away. One of my favorite lines. Swing away.
Don't fear to fail. That's how you find success.
Oh, must be very.
There's a big success coming, isn't there?
Yeah. Let's see what happens in my Wednesday meeting. Okay. I do love the posters from like the 50s, the hand painted from the 30s to the 50s. They really did a lot of hand painting posters. I love it when it's imagery. I just looked at the Heart of the Sea one. That was the one Ron Howard did, Moby Dick.
Chris Hemsworth.
Film.
Chris Hemsworth is in it, yeah.
All right, and it's just blue, light blue, like the ocean, and you see the whale 3/4 of the way down, and this little tiny person with a harpoon swimming in front of it.
The ones I saw were things like Little Nicky and stuff like that. I think they're mostly newer ones.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and Wasp had a nice poster. It was all black.
Jaws. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ant-Man and Wasp, their poster was all black, except this little teeny Ant-Man and Wasp in the very center.
I'll look it up. I love it because it's. I don't see that one. I only see the where they're both standing there looking tough. Oh, and they're tiny?
Yeah.
Oh, he's in the background and she's tiny in the front? That one?
No, they were both just two little teeny figures in the very center of all this black, and it said Ant-Man and Wasp in the classic comic book.
Kinda cool. Yeah, I got to meet, I was taught a little bit by Bob Winquist. He's a designer, big time designer, and he works in Hollywood. He's the guy that did all the furniture in 2001. He basically designed Main Street in Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just, his big things are in design. One of the first things was make it fun. In other words, make it fun for the eye.
Right.
And then the other thing he said was he thought, he went off on things, but one of the things he went off on was movie posters. And he said, you talked about the importance of design and how lazy it is to have the people on their faces. And then he would talk about simple shapes and how they have power and impact, and how when you do a good design, not only is it good from any direction, but it stays in people's memories and they'll never forget.
Look at the Incredibles movie posters.
Oh. That whole movie is visual orgasm, the second one. The whole movie is just, Have you seen it yet?
Oh yeah. Saw it in the theater.
God, it's so good.
It's a fun movie. It's a fun movie.
So pretty. It's fun. It's pretty as hell, man.
And
well, think about Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at, you can remember that poster. It's mostly ocean, the woman at the very top swimming, and then just teeth and the triangle coming up. It says the whole movie visually in an overwhelming set of Jaws. Boom.
It's good.
No, because it's well drawn. I mean, you have a focal point where your eye's drawn to that particular thing, and you remember. I mean, that's.
Yeah,
I think all of us would be swimming.
Based on a poster, it's like, where do I look?
Right.
There was the Day of the Dead one, or Dawn of the Dead, where it's the eyes looking over the horizon.
Yeah.
That kind of disturbed me as a child. I can't get that one out of my head. And it was graphic and drawn, yeah.
By the way, Sirsha says, Sally Bowles from Cabaret and Dolly Levy from Hello Dolly are some major alto roles, but neither of those characters can be considered an ingenue.
Well, it
Definitely
is what it is.
Well, also, I didn't enjoy the Cabaret movie. I thought it was horrible and boring and visually more of a mockery and a horror show than a fun musical. Now, I love the soundtrack. but the movie itself is, ugh. They dance around the issues instead of directly addressing them. They hide things because of the era. Yes, I don't think Liza Minnelli was all that, though. Well, as Saoirse said, but it has Liza with a Z. Yeah. I know she was a big star for half a second, but...
Dinner table for one.
What am I bitter about?
For one. I don't know.
You know what?
It was fine. I enjoyed it.
It's, after seeing I Am a Camera, which is what the film was based after, there's so much more to that. So when you watch this production, by the way, on Broadway, it's probably much better, I would assume.
It is. It's a drama. Oh.
But there's a lot of films out there that,
Someone mommy is coming to pick them up.
Barefoot in the Park is another one. The stage play is just so much more captivating than the movie. And I saw it in a local theater. I didn't even see it on Broadway or something. And Saoirse says,
I can remember you answered this before. What is your favorite musical?
The Music Man.
Good one.
With Buddy Hackett and what's his name, Robert, who was in Victoria Preston. Yes.
Robert Preston.
And I
remember the day he died. I got very upset.
I like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers just for the choreography and the colors of the dresses and the dance scenes and just the visuals.
Okay, think about that story in terms of what I was talking about budget.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's trapped, isolated in the mountains. There you go. So now you don't have to worry about, now you got them all trapped, you got them all separated. It could have gone to a horror movie, but it didn't. It went Phillips.
Well, nowadays it'd be a horror movie.
Have you ever watched the making of, and they talk about the choreography and what the guys went through to get the stunts and the scenes? And one of them, the guy that played the youngest brother, he was actually a gymnast.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
and he was in West Side Story as well. And these guys did all their own stunts, and I love their barn raising sequence. Oh.
Yeah.
You're right. Fabulous.
Where unlike Oklahoma, with Hugh Jackman, by the way.
I'm going to sign off.
Okay.
Bye.
You have a good night, John, and we'll catch you again next time.
Alrighty.
Now, let's see if I set this up right.
And
hold on.
There were two.
Hold on. I've got to reset the video thing now that we're down to two.
Let me refill.
Go ahead. And by the way, yes, I have seen Repo, the genetic opera. As good as it was, I was disappointed because I felt like it tried too hard. It wanted to be a comedy, it wanted to be a drama, and it missed too many things because it was trying to do everything. Now, let's see if I can get this set up right. Get Elizabeth set in here. Oh, you know what I need to do first? I need to do that. And I like the actors and actresses in it. See, I don't even remember. I have to rewatch it too, because also there's a chance that I was just in the wrong mood when I watched it. And because of that, I just refuse to enjoy it. So I allow that open. Crazy to me that Shiloh from Repo is the girl from Spy Kids. Yeah, like I said, I don't even remember. It's, So... I need to I do have it on my shelf. I have it on DVD. It was one of those ones I pull out every once in a while to watch it and then just never get to it. It's but Andrea likes it a lot. So there's that. It will be rewatched again one day, and either I'll reaffirm what I already thought about it, or I'll figure out that, no, I still stick with my original opinion. We'll see how it goes. This is troubling that the left-hand monitor is not picking up the video, but the right-hand monitor is. Kooky. I wonder how long have I had them on? I don't know if this gives a time. Okay, 3 o'clock is what it looks like. So we're looking at a reasonable amount of time for this show. We've done 3 hours since Elizabeth got on.
Talk. I'm not done yet. Are we done, or are we still going?
No, we're
right?
going. I am going till whenever I'm ready to go to bed, is what it boils down to.
Are you really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
Well, that was my plan as I started to expand the hours of Talk at the Tavern, is basically be 12 hours a day between here and then the game on Andrea's channel Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Because, like I said, I see the success of Twitch as being on all the damn time. But I have to, like I said, I have to look at the job situation, and if I get a 9 to 5, the evening shows can still happen exactly as they have been, without any issue at all. But yeah, I have to look at it, and I'm just tired of being financially in the crapper.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
and if the art isn't making the money yet, then something else probably should be until the art does.
I think it's art for money is possible. It takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, we're all alive when that time comes over.
There is that chance. It could be could be tomorrow, or it could be 20 years after we're dead.
It could be, but I wanted to talk about this, and I got veered off, but I was talking to my father today, and my father is not at all. He's very creative, and he's one of the best joke storytellers I've ever come across.
Mm-hmm.
He's very good at it. But he's not thrilled with my choice, and he never has. But today, out of his mouth, and he's going through rough times right now, he did say, when I am here in New York, he admitted, he's like, well, you're taking a shot, and at least you won't get to like my stage in life and play the I wonder if. And I said, exactly. And he said, you're on the 5-year plan. I said, yeah, but to hear these words come out of his mouth, I thought, art does have an impact, and it does create ripples in the world, and you don't know until there's moments that comes back to you like, oh, I guess there you go,
I did something.
These are decisions I had made years ago. Just now, he's actually acknowledged, and I've never confessed these to him. I just interesting.
It's also nice to get that from one of the few people in the world that you, I don't know, crave their approval, desire their approval. And you obviously, the value you place on your parents is rare and dear. And the fact that you place that value on them says a lot about them, even though I don't know them. And you've stated before, though not supportive, he hasn't ever, from what you've told me, shot you down and went, nope, stupid, don't do that, you're a moron. Though from that look on your face, perhaps those words have happened in some...
I try not to give power to stuff I don't want.
I understand.
And,
What are you doing, Zazzle?
Oh, you all right?
Yeah, Zazzle is climbing the window to get to something.
Kitty.
Yeah.
I can see the tail.
I don't know if you'd be able to. Can you see the table?
It's alright. It's alright. Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. Don't give power to what you don't want to have power in your life. Keep moving.
Yeah,
There's
she was.
kitty next to you too.
And there is. That's a cuttlefish over here, and giraffe is right there. And I had 3 or 4 of them laid out on the table earlier.
Yeah, you did.
It's the reason the table stays here when we're not gaming, is because cats. And actually, it's the reason the table stays here when we are gaming, because that way the cats aren't on my damn books. What do you get exactly? Oh, there's a bug on the screen, and she's all the lean, mean huntress. Nope. What? I don't even. I can't even see what she's. Oh, I see what she's trying to get. It's up there, Zap. It's up top. Up. Never mind. You're a cat.
What?
Sorry, I bumped the table. Figure when Andrea gets home, she might jump in again on hers and join us. Oh, hold on. My phone's buzzing. Let's make sure it's not Andrea. Actually, when I spoke to Ed on the phone this morning, and he said he was kind of relieved when he heard that the show wasn't going on tonight, so he can get some extra sleep.
Oh my god. I was just looking at pictures of my friend's backyard. Flooded.
Where are they?
Smithfield.
Okay.
8.5 inches in the last less than 20.
Someone would be thrilled with that.
Wow.
Okay. There we go.
Water.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I want to say is, yeah, you know what? And taking a full-time job, there's nothing wrong in that. It doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean it is what it is.
Well, like I said, I gotta adjust the priorities. You know, the concept
It'll
of
make you better at utilizing your time. That's for sure.
it probably
So it
will.
happens to me. You know, I get very productive in 2 hours when I have a job. Like right now, I can be on the air. La 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 la. I just get around.
There is that.
Yeah, and you know what? Save. The life of an artist is feast and famine. You know that. You ran a business from home, so couldn't you do that again?
No, not with this internet.
And there's no way to. They're not coming out in your area. You can't go satellite or anything like that.
Oh, I went satellite. It is worse than using the hotspot. And by the way, we went and got the second hotspot. I went to add it to my account, and they're like, "Oh, well, we can't grandfather it in. We've just quit allowing hotspots on unlimited plans." Because basically, people are doing what I'm doing, I'm guessing, you know, and using it as their fucking internet in the middle of nowhere. And, yeah, so they're like, yeah, we just can't do that anymore. So I have a piece of equipment that I bought that's useless at this point. Because we can get a plan for it, but it's like 25 gigs maximum. And we, here in this house, go through 25 gigs in a day. Between, you know, streaming and Netflix and everything else. That's one day's use.
Well, that's very fun.
Yeah. Kevin may pop in tonight. We'll see.
Thanks.
About 2 hours.
Thanks, Charles. Thanks, Kevin.
Well, it went with... I messaged him almost an hour ago and said, hey, bored, home, awake? He says, at work, home in 2 hours. I said, no show tonight unless everyone waylays me and says they must be on. He says, want me to drop you a message when I'm back? Happy to catch up quick while I eat, etc. I just gave a little thumbs up. He said, no worries, Facebook or Discord. I said, always Discord, because, yeah, let's just stay away from Facebook.
What if, you know, I'm very ignorant on how you run all. is there any way to have someone else be a base of, have a home operations center that you can jump onto and you don't need to be?
Yes, but then they have to do all the other work. And, I had Ed and Kevin set up OBS and all the other stuff so they could do this. But then there's all the other work, all the after show work and everything. And I don't want to put that on somebody else. If they're like, hey, I want to do it, then sure. Oh, no, it's okay, Fish.
Well, why can't you have interns?
I like the
You are a
concept.
company, because, friends of mine, they do a lot of that with interns. And then the one intern that finished his intern and then he graduated is now their bookkeeper and helping them with accounting. It gives them a first run over and then they take it to, just finding ways to utilize their
Well, there is.
possibilities.
Now, I know you don't pay interns. I got that. But there's no money. There's
I
no money.
understand. They don't pay them either. They
but-
get school credit.
I can't get somebody to sit at my table at a convention to just make sure, everything stays on the table it's supposed to stay there.
No, but you can get getting a kid that's already sitting in front of the computer, and I say kid just,
Right.
and then to do this stuff.
See, at this point in time, the way I would lead into that, by the way, John had a great idea I wanted to tell you about earlier, and I'll get to that in a moment if we remember. But I
I
look
don't
at
even know who you are, buddy.
I look at the moderators on the channel. As I make certain people moderators, I'm like, okay, the job of a moderator is when somebody comes in, if we're busy talking, make sure you throw a, hey, thanks for jumping in, thanks for joining us. If it's a streamer that we know, make sure you do the shout out. If we're going to raid, put up the raid call, and I'll take us out with the raid. And none of the moderators have done that. And by that, I'm just wide spectrum pointing, not even like Ed or Kevin does this shit. Ed once in a while. Kevin, of course, gets chatty on the chat, which is great. Hold on, I'm having an internet spike. Okay, we're back. Making sure my internet's not shitting out on us. So a lot of these people who wanted to be moderators, they're not doing anything that comes with being a moderator. And I don't hold ill will to that. It's just that's how that is. They want a title and feel important, but not do anything that goes with it. It will come. There will be some point in time where I can have people who will, oh no, I'll sit in on your broadcast and do that for you. And not necessarily 12 hours a day. Not looking for that. That's why you have multiple moderators, so they can come and go. As for the interns and hosting the call, okay, here's the big plan. By the way, this has freaked Andrea out. I'm like, if we're not happy here in Tappahannock, why don't we look at selling the house and buying something else where there's internet and civilization where we will be happy? Now, I doubt we're going to get the amount of house we have for the money that this will sell for. We might get lucky and hit a foreclosure or something like that and get something bigger. But in all likelihood, we're not going to have everything we have now. We're going to have to consolidate. We're going to have to cut back. We're not going to have a library and a craft room and an office. We're going to have maybe one of those. This Andrea has anxiety, so she got into a panic mode, and it ended the conversation very quickly. But this is something, if we are not happy here, why are we staying here? It's, let's sell this house for $125,000 and go buy some little nothing for $90,000 and have to put some work into it and have less room, but have it in a location where we like being. And maybe with the extra money, if there is extra money, fix the cars, because we're worried about the car problems right now, and stuff like this. The other option, or a option in conjunction with that, is bring in more money. Now, if I can't do that with the show and the books, how else do you do it? Well, you get a job. You get a job that's not 24 hours a week or 20 hours a week. at $11.50. You go get a 40-hour-a-week job that's paying $15 to $20 an hour. And these are just what I'm considering. That's what this week is. Me to go over even out-of-the-box options. Like go through the house, sell everything that doesn't mean something. Get rid of all the collectibles and sell them for $10 to $1,000 each on eBay and get that money to sit where we can fix the cars and move forward. So this is just an out-of-the-box week, and it's like when I'm about to prep for a game, I need 5 minutes without anybody talking to me so I can get in the right headspace. Like if you're going to direct a scene or act a scene or anything, you want to make sure you're in the right place mentally. Otherwise, you kind of flounder and meander. And that's what this week is. It's let's square my shoulders and get my head on and look at our options and then decide out of all those options from crazy to mundane, what's most likely to work most effectively and get me in the direction I want to go. And if that means 12 months of working 2 jobs, so all finances are caught up, there's no money owed, the cars are in good repair, and we're living in a place we want to be, then isn't 1 year work, real work as opposed to creative work, worth the next so many years where I can get back to the creativity? I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'm debating it.
Well, I'm a military brat, so I have itchy feet. I'm always ready to move. All right, let's go. And
I
can't get
am
rid of
too.
boxes.
I am too. Yeah, I'm like, you want me? This is why I love what I do for a day job. I'm stacking boxes in a neat, orderly fashion. I'm like, I love it.
There's change is the one constant, and it does make us, we have to get rid of things. We sort through things. We go, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I know so much of our lives often change is very chaotic, aggressive, horrible.
It's also cleansing.
Yeah, it's very cleansing, enlightening.
This is why when people are like, I hate putting away groceries, I'm like, I love putting away groceries. Or when I first move into a house, unpacking, because suddenly everything is neat and orderly and in its place and tidy, and you know where everything is. So for me, this is a delight. The unpacking, the reorganization. But do I need...
Well, I'll tell you what, if you guys are going to sell your house, we should at least shoot a film in there before you go.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. See, the problem with the house, though, and not necessarily when I air this on air, but, it's really, it's Saoirse. So, it's you, me, and Saoirse, really. There's not enough money to purchase a new house, because I paid cash for this. I don't have a mortgage.
Yeah.
And the same with my cars. I paid cash for them. There's no payments. So to get something new, basically what I'm looking at, especially with 8 cats, I can't go rent a place for 3 months. Well, I could, but the odds are against it working out right. It could happen, though. By the way, John's a great idea, because I'm like, look at our target audience. Our target audience is a certain age group. Now, we do bring in some younger folks, but generally it's 40 to 65-year-old people. It's our generation. And I'm like, where can I go to get these people's attention? He's like, try Craigslist. I'm like, that's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
To go hit New York, LA, Boston, Chicago, Craigslist, and put up, do you miss going to the pub with your friends? Come join Talk of the Tavern.
That's right. Or, don't. Is it too much trouble getting into the pub?
Yeah. Yeah, well, also,
atmosphere is one click away.
Has every pub turned into a sports bar or dance club in your world? Come join us. And Saoirse says I'm definitely in the 65 age category. And Saoirse, that's what I'm saying. It's a mindset as opposed to an age. It's a mindset of realizing people have different opinions and differences, and you can celebrate them and make fucking fun of them, and still roll together even though you're not the same. It's a beauty part of human interaction. Elizabeth and I don't have to see eye to eye religiously, politically, socially to still appreciate where the other one is coming from and listen, hoping to learn something new. Why? I respect this person. Why do they think that way? Well, I listened, and I don't see it that way, but I still adore this person for who they are, and that's part of who they are. So this is why, whether you're gay, straight, black, white, male, female, Christian, atheist, whatever, come in. We're going to talk about pretty much everything, even the hot topics on occasion, but we're going to walk away after a discussion and go, no, I know that person a little better, and I'm better for this discussion, and I don't hate anybody, and I'm not upset. Elizabeth.
You know, it's a character, life is a character-driven.
Life is what?
A character-driven story.
It is.
Oh my God! Can you imagine? That's what they want. That's what socialists want. Everyone the same. Everyone, no male, no female. Everyone. I don't want that. I wanna learn each other. And there's stuff we argue about. We get heated. It's fun.
Oh yeah. We have both shut the other one down at certain points. Absolutely, we have shut each other down. Nope. You're gonna stop talking because I'm yelling.
And then we come back for more.
We do. Well, we realize the other person isn't attacking us personally.
No.
They're passionate about how they feel and their experience. And there's sometimes the other one walks away going, nah, fair point. There's other times going, nope, so full of shit. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Who knows who's right? It's not about being right. I love it when people can explain themselves. Because when you start really listening, excuse me, I'm hungry.
Did you just sniff a marker?
No, it was my eucalyptus fan.
Oh, okay. You're like, highlighters. Go on, Travis.
Makes you feel good. Highlighter. Oh, now you make sense. Oh, when you listen to people, really listen to people, their person, not only the personality, but just like below that, the subtext, how they live their life and the decisions and how they're interacting with you come forth, and it's lovely. It's
what
amazing.
Makes them tick? Yeah. And
yeah, we need more of that. You need to hang around people that disagree with you.
We do. It's
we all do.
No, serious show. We're not talking about Hot Topic, but here in the U.S., Hot Topic is like a very trendy store that's pretty much anime and vinyl pop. So I don't know if that's the same thing there, but
leather.
Not even real leather, like crappy, cheap plastic leather. Doesn't mean it's not pretty.
I go in there and I always think, oh, it's so cool, and then, oh, it's really changed. I used to shop here.
Yeah. Now, did it change, or did it stay with the times and you didn't change?
I don't know. I don't think it's smart to advertise when someone is on a list. When they were when I'm drinking heavily, I don't walk around wearing clothes that said, I'm drunk as fuck.
No. This is the wonderful part when I'm at work. And now at work I've started wearing a uniform. I don't have to, but I wear black pants and a black long sleeve button up shirt. I roll up the sleeves. And I have a tank top underneath. I always wear an undershirt. And people are like, you always look so good. But then there's other days I'll pop in and I'm in a goofy t-shirt, like a Cookie Monster t-shirt and shorts. And then they see the tattoos on my legs, and of course they can see at least my ear piercings, not necessarily the others. And then they won't talk to me because I look like everyone else there. So it's...
Well, I remember one time, this was a lifetime ago, I was living in a dojo in Fresno, California, and I was talking to one of the other students, and I remember one time he told me he didn't even like, he was a vegan, I guess, and he didn't even like, I destroyed him because he said he didn't like eating cooked things, meat, because of the suffering it went through his life. And then I responded, of course, being the smart ass, that I
Do tell.
I said, so what about those poor vegetables you eat raw? I mean, you're eating them and they're still alive. I mean, imagine them screaming and as you're just chomping on this carrot. And he looked at me like, I never thought of that before. And he got really upset. And I felt like a big asshole.
Did you go even further and talk about how they've hooked up plants to certain detectors and create?
I kind of did, yeah.
You know, they react to human emotion and stuff like that. So I'm like.
But we had the conversation. He was telling me a story. I mean, he was not. I don't know. He's such a. I don't know. Anyway, we're having a conversation, and there was a car accident. No one was really hurt, but it was the other people's fault, according to the story he told me.
Usually is.
He had cut him off, and I believe him. He was, he did have a good heart, and he was pretty honest, usually. Okay, so anyway, the police officer showed up, and he ended up believing the people who had caused the accident and not my friend. Well, he dresses like a hippie, a total burnout. And it's not that he is, but that he, has a little rainbow hoodie and pants and no socks and slip and sandals. And I said, it's an unfortunate, you what you wear, you're advertising a persona.
Right.
And it is unfortunate that think of the officer, he's on a point of view. I said, what were the other guy wearing? And he said, oh, button-down shirt and pants. And you dress like a burnout. I said, well, that got around and I was a jerk and all this because what I said, but it's true. You dress a certain way.
Nope.
When
absolutely.
I teach children, I don't wear zombie shirts.
Well, I've told Aiden and other younger folks, it's if I walk into a store now. When I was 20, sometimes I would be followed around a store. Now. I could steal anything in that store, walk out with it under my arm out in the open, and they wouldn't blink because, yeah, I'm dressed nicely. I'm groomed. I got a cat on my face. By the way, Sirsha says, what sort of monster eats baby carrots? They're just babies, damn vegans.
I know, and that was the sausage party. That was the scene that got me to watch it.
What'd you think of the movie?
I thought, all right, I'll watch this movie. And it was better than I thought it would be.
I love that it had that bigger picture point of view. Yeah. Well, the very ending, I don't know when to give spoilers, though it's a couple years old. They should, if they haven't seen it. But the whole, concept of what comes after this life. That the whole movie, that was actually, amongst all the penis and fart jokes, the movie ends with what comes after this world. What's next? What is heaven?
That
what is
scene,
after?
though, when they're eating the food and the food realizes that this isn't heaven, I think that was probably one of the most horrifying and funny scenes I've seen.
Have Andrea and I told you about when we went to see it in the theater?
What was that?
Have Andrea and I told you about when we saw it? Oh, this was great. So we go in, and there's probably a dozen or so people in the theater, including a couple with a 3 or 4-year-old child. And we're like, they do know it's a Seth Rogen movie, right? They've seen it. They know what. Okay, it's a cartoon. They brought their kid. So the kid is kind of antsy and a little noisy. Then it hits that scene. The kid starts bawling. And Andrea and I are somewhere torn between, oh, that poor kid, therapy bills, and that's fucking hilarious that kid is just falling apart at this scene. And the parents didn't even take the damn kid out. And I'm like, do you realize?
The sound alone was horrible in that section. I remember that. That's what really hit me was the screaming and the music. So accurate.
All right, it goes from the potatoes singing, My Irish Eyes Are Singing, to like psycho background music. It was wonderful.
That's wonderful. It was fabulous.
And all the where people are like, oh, you couldn't make Blazing Saddles nowadays. Well, have you seen Sausage Party? That is a remake.
Well, no, you can't because it's not the same time. Of course you can't.
Well, what I'm saying is Sausage Party has as many pokes at racism, and that's what Blazing Saddles was. It's not a racist movie. It's poking fun at racism. And Sausage Party did the same thing with the Jewish and the Muslim and the Native American and all across the board. It kind of hit everyone. It was when the falafel and the bagel get together.
It was fun. It was fun. I mean, I wouldn't. It's definitely not perfect.
No,
You got to put up with a lot.
you do.
A lot that didn't. But I got me chuckling.
It is totally juvenile and asinine with a very interesting moral, philosophical question at the end. So it's then they go a step beyond during the credits. No, we enjoyed it. We purchased it. What do you got?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing. I got to turn this off. Jack. Oh my God.
You got me on the
was
sock
looking up-
check?
I was looking up stuff. Isn't that amazing how distracting the internet is?
It is. It is. Well, also, I think as we get older, we realize we're not going to divide our attention. We're focusing on one thing at a time. And I think we always did this, but we faked it well enough other people, or we were so self-centered when other people were distracted, we never realized it. Now that we're older, we're like, I'm focusing. What are you doing?
I told that story to a few other people about the pronouns and which pronoun will you prefer? And I said, well, what if I don't care?
Where is that?
I've had a couple people laugh. I've had a couple people look at me, and a couple be very indignant. Well, you're supposed to care. I don't care. I don't.
Mm.
Words never hurt me.
Mm.
I don't care.
It's just like, I don't care what religion or politics you are unless we're going to discuss these things.
Yeah.
And then I'm interested in the conversation, but beyond that,
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't want to play that game. I'm not interested.
You're you, I'm good, we're done. It's
All this, I've told the children, thank you for sharing. No, let's move on. I acknowledge you shared. Thank you. I don't. What a way to distract people, huh?
mm-hmm.
Tell me who you are. Not what.
Yeah. Well, it's just like it's one of the reasons leaving Facebook didn't bother me at all, because so many
Yeah.
people just regurgitate the same warmed over meme with no thought or opinion behind it. At least if there's thought or opinion, okay, so this is more than just a label they're smacking on their forehead. This is a belief, and there's a
Well,
reason.
I read it in a comic strip out of the paper. I can't remember the name of the strip, but it was one of the ones that has black characters. And it was one of the good ones. And the mother or the grandmother said, "It's not posting, it's boasting." And that's truly it. No one put. It is boring. It's boring. I'll admit it. I kind of keep up.
Mhm.
I'm happier when I don't. In fact, I'm looking at it less and less than just now on the show. I looked and 33 notifications.
Yeah.
Scrolled through a few. People post pickle stuff on my timeline, and I always have to approve it. So,
Right.
Someone just posted a pickle that looked like the alien creature.
Nice.
And then they superimposed it over the alien with Sigourney from the wall and with she's bald.
Uh-huh.
And it's a pickle.
Last week I read a news article on air about, like a study or something showed people who are posting on Facebook value feedback over facts. In other words, the social media hounds aren't about disseminating correct information. They just want the attention. And I'm like, is this news? Is this really something somebody had to write an article? Is this not obvious that they don't care if it's right or wrong? They just want that like or that comment, whether it's positive or negative. They just want the attention.
That's children. And you realize that very quickly when you're working with children or teaching or babysitting. They want attention, positive. And they want it all the time. Getting it, see what it takes.
Excuse me. Andrea just pulled up. We'll see if she'll be joining us. Well, we'll have to get her 2 minutes to get inside the door.